Ready. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Accolon here, and welcome back to each one of you. And of course, if you're watching this over on YouTube, remember to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and also, you know, smash the bell. And also click the link in the description down below. As it's always better when it's live. Just make sure. I hope the music isn't too loud. I hope you guys can hear the music. So, not too loud, not too quiet. Here we go. Mr. Smokin', how you doing, brother? Howdy, boys and girls. If you want to dethrone the degenerate king of the mountain, happy to have you here, bro. It was a good fight. What was a good fight? What happened, Mr. Smokin'? Shit. Blasphemous, you bastard. Thank you for staying what's up, dude. Really appreciate that. 5 months in a row. How you doing, brother? Sorry, guys. I completely forgot. I literally just hit start stream without setting anything up. So, we out here fucking sorting everything out, I suppose. Okay, that should do it. There we go. Went to Dark Lord and a story question swatter. Ah, okay. Blasphemous, how you doing, bro? Work as usual. Yep. That is sort of, that is sort of the gist of it. You can't really, I guess, not have work, you know? It sucks, but that is what it is. There we go. When it comes to storytelling, I think Swatter is second only to Final Fantasy XIV. Is it second though? Because from a lot of people that I've heard about, it's actually like the best game when it comes to telling stories. Time go by faster. I am happy to hear that, Blasphemous. I am very happy to hear that. Sadly, today's stream is going to be kind of on the short side. We don't have much time because it's still basically public holiday here today. At least most people treat it as a public holiday, so I can see they're busy setting up again to start barbecuing. So it's noisy as fuck, believe me. I left my house yesterday. I was like, fuck it, I can't be here. Everyone's speaking, so I can't even sit in the studio and just, play video games because I can hear everything. It's very loud. What about just got done listening to some of your videos while sitting in traffic. Kale, how you doing, brother? Which videos were you watching? Mist Mage, how you doing, brother? So everything should return back to normal next week, hopefully. From next week, things should be normal again. Normal stream times, normal stream days, everything. It's just sadly currently not really on the fucking cards. Yeah, people, I don't know what the fuck's going on, dude. Everyone seems to be on holiday here. It's very weird coming from the city where, usually today in the city, if you go to Pretoria, people are working, bro. People are fucking grinding. And then you come to Cape Town and people's chilling. Like everyone's just sort of, fuck work, we may work later, but for now we're just gonna chill. It's like, why are you guys chilling? Aren't you supposed to be, working and shit? Sorry, I'm literally just trying to set shit up here, so it's a little bit more organized. I should have done this earlier. I'm aware. I should have done this earlier, but fuck it. Here we are. Anyways, how's everyone doing? How's your day been? We didn't stream yesterday. Couldn't fucking do it. So here we are. Apocalypse, how you doing, bro? Just go up there. Okay. I'm actually awake for a stream. Natalie Frost, how you doing? Did you just wake up or are you still awake for the stream? Return of N'Zoth, between watching all the lore spoilers, I'm just sad. You and me both. You and me both. There's like, I don't even know if I want to get into it anymore. Like, I am genuinely at the point where I'm just like, who cares? I mean, if Blizzard isn't going to care about their own story, then why should I? You know? Working is for respectable people, not as degenerates. Truth. Fucking truth has been spoken. You should listen to that, man, all of you. You're still up as well. I know that, Apocalypse. Your sleep schedule's fucked, bro. About to head off for my short shift. Here's to hoping that you'll be streaming still in 4 hours. Lucius, Babby, take care of you. I'm not going to be streaming still in 4 hours. Sadly, not today. Today is very short stream. We'll probably be here for about an hour or two, maybe 3 if I can push it, depending on how noisy it gets. But yeah, my brother's coming through tomorrow from my old hometown. He's flying down for holiday. So we're probably going to be doing a shit ton of things this weekend. I think he's coming for like 3 weeks. So I'm still up a little. Gonna wait till pizza place opens, carb coma, and sleep through till normal people time tomorrow. Apocalypse, you should not eat carbs before you go to bed. Like, you don't get a good night's sleep if you have carbs before you go to bed. Like, fuck all to do with gaining weight or shit. I don't give a fuck about that. But whenever I have carbs, you just don't sleep well. I don't know why. It's just, it fucks up your sleep schedule. Get a good night's sleep? No, that can't be true. That is like literally impossible. Because carbs screw up your sleep schedule, like all of your cycles. You have way too much sugar in your blood. You have way too much fucking shit going on. You're like, just no. You want to know how you sleep really well? Just eat meat, bro. Eat meat for a couple of days and you'll have the best fucking sleep of your life. So what's everyone's plans for this weekend? While we're here, while we're waiting for people to filter in before we start discussing some of the topics I have pulled up here. What's everyone planning this week? Let me just get this ready as well. Don't wanna be unprepared, you know. Now, dude, a good carb overload with lots of pasta, and I'm dead to the world for 6 to 7 hours. Drinking beer and playing games, right? That is as good a day as any. Working, gotta deliver people's presents. Are you Father Christmas, Kale? Living the Astrologian in Final Fantasy 14? I wish I could play Final Fantasy 14 today. Maybe we'll fit a little bit of Final Fantasy 14 in. If we get people online to finish Coils of Power mod. Because I'd like to finish Coils of Power mod so from next week we can actually fucking smash the Heavensward MSQ. Holiday presents, Blasphemous, don't even fucking start, dude. Don't even start. I am so over this bullshit. I'm trying to find a couple of tweets. Okay, those are found. I'm thinking we're fine there. Let's just quickly go to Final Fantasy because that's part of a story that I have planned for you guys. Here we go. And that slots in right there. Okay, here we go. Alright, I've got a couple of cool stories today. Like a couple of really cool fucking stories for today. So as soon as everyone's here and we're all set up, I'm really gonna fucking enjoy today's stream. My Christmas this year is going to be fairly boring. One of my family members has got COVID and my sister needs to stay in quarantine. So we are only going to be 4 people. Jesus, Neo. That does not sound fun at all. Laughing at it keeps me from throwing things across the room in frustration. Bro, at this point, I don't think I'm the only one that's frustrated with the story. And I don't think you're alone either. I think we're all very, very frustrated with the story. And it's actually one of the topics that I want to start with today is the discussion as to why we're so frustrated. At least why so many people are so frustrated with the story. Because I think a lot of people sort of miss why. The lore is a mess. True. I mean, look, I don't think that comes as a surprise to anyone. And if you are surprised by the fact that most of us think the lore is a mess, then you've not been paying attention, right? But Echo, there is a new shop bundle with 5 mounts and 2 pets for $100. Neo, we'll talk about that. Believe me, we'll talk about that. It's also on the list of things that needs to be discussed today. I'm just going to show you guys the difference in how 2 companies deal with the same issue or similar issues. Not even similar issues, to be frank. Not even similar issues. I woke up this morning in sort of like fucking chill mode, and I don't know why. I'm not supposed to be in chill mode. There's nothing to be chill about. It's just a normal working day for me. But I woke up feeling chill, you know? Like, I should be doing nothing. Other than watching Witcher 2's, Witcher Season 2. Oh my god, dude. I can't wait to watch Witcher Season 2. Tonight, after everyone stopped making noise, that's what I'm doing. Witcher Season 2, brother. Yeah, I can't fucking wait. I am so excited. I've been waiting for Witcher Season 2 the whole year. It's finally fucking here. Playing Swatter, can't hear anything when it comes to this shit show. That is WoW story and lore. You can hear everything, don't lie, Mr. Smokin'. Don't fucking lie. You hear everything, you bastard. It released today. Yep. It's out. It's there. It's going. But we're streaming, so I can't watch it now. But I will be watching it. I'm so fucking excited for that. Because Witcher Season 1 was just incredible. It was just 100% incredible. It's everything I wanted from the Witcher show. Now with Witcher Season 2, I'm all for it. Let me have my delusion, damn it. I will not. You don't get to dodge this shit, Mr. Smokin'. I'm sorry, but you don't. Why should the rest of us suffer and you go, nah, I'm having fun playing another game? No. You'll suffer with the fucking rest of us, you bastard. Like it should be, like God intended. Did you guys see that World of Warcraft is looking for a new lead executive producer? So I wonder what happened to John Haidt. Did he leave? Bobby Contic leaving ABK? Doubt this will ever happen? Oh, Contic's not going anywhere. Contic's not leaving. Wait, you still need to finish Season 1? What the fuck are you doing, Blasphemous Cow? Why are you not finishing Season 1? And Walker, there are some comparisons that need making in the story, and coming from me to praise Final Fantasy on this, that's big. I know. We'll get there. It'll happen, I'm sure. The thing is, I can't, like... I could start streaming earlier. Even earlier. Or I could stream later. But then the doggos suffer. Because the doggos can't go for walks. Zucha, how you doing? And they'll hate me for that. Like, if we skip one day, we couldn't go walking with him yesterday. Because the wind is... It's actually calm today, but the wind was fucking horrendous yesterday. Like, it was blowing. I had to close that window. I love the wind, but I had to close that window. I couldn't fucking live here. It was just wind, being bombarded with wind. This entire room was filled with leaves and shit. And going to the beach then is a nightmare. Like, you don't want to go to the beach. It's sand fucking everywhere, in your eyes, in your hair. So we couldn't take the doggos. And you should see them, dude. Like, they feel fucking cheated. And when they realize there's no beach today, oh my God, the way they look at you, like, they just sit there at the door and they just stare at you. It's just like, what you doing, motherfucker? We should be at the beach. Why are you just chilling? It's like, I'm not just chilling, but we have things to do, you know? We can't go out now. And they're like, I don't care. Let's go. Let's go, bitch. Doing pretty good. How about you? Zicha, I can't complain at all. I'm having a wonderful day. It's 20 minutes past 1. Blizzard have fucked up multiple times. What can I say? You know, the content writes itself really at this point. I don't have to do anything. I just have to open my browser and there's a story to cover. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts yesterday, and they are calling for safer weather and weather today and tonight. We barely dodged the tornadoes last week. Yeah, but we don't have tornadoes, so we're not used to that massive fucking wind. The Chanka mission. Mitch, I know, yeah. What was your choice? I did hear about the breast milk fiasco, yes. And I'm still not entirely sure. Like, here's my thing. My only problem really with the breast milk fiasco is how thirsty, right? Or even moderately thirsty have one gotta be to go to the fridge and just drink a bottle of breast milk. I'm no expert. I've never had breast milk, but I'm assuming there's better things to drink than breast milk. I would actually go so far as to say maybe even just a normal glass of water would be better than a glass of breast milk. Like I said, no expert. Don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about here, but I would think so, right? Like that, like, do they not have water coolers at Blizzard? Do they not have somewhere where you can buy a normal drink? Might be a fetish, which makes it actually worse. Because it's like, dude, read the room, right? You're at work, now is not the time to be drinking breast milk. Go find yourself a nice pregnant lady and, you know, have at it. If that's your thing, if that's the thing that you need to do, then hey, do your thing, you know? I'm not going to stand in your way, but not at work, you know? Not at fucking work. How's about you just chill your fucking biscuits until you get home and then, you know, take all the titty you want with all the milk you need, you know? I'm sure there's girls out there who would love that shit. I'm just assuming that if there's someone with a kink to drink breast milk, there's going to be people with a kink to give breast milk to drink. Hey, stream notifications just after my lunch break. Perfect. Mini Cooker, how you doing, bro? We're talking about breast milk. The new and improved, hot off the presses, sexual kink at Blizzard Entertainment. Can you believe it? 76 Big Boss. Thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. And then, of course, Dusk, or Seven Dusk. Thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to both of you to the most degenerate chat on Twitch. I hope that you will enjoy it. They sell some baby's food. Yeah, well, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. That to me just seems wank as fuck. Like, why would you do that? Like I said, even if it is your kink, wouldn't the kink? So here's the problem that I have with a kink. I can maybe, like, if I'm trying to turn my mind as fucked up as possible, I could probably say, all right, someone really enjoys sucking on a titty that's got milk inside of it, right? But if you remove the titty, what's the kink? You just like foul tasting milk? I'm assuming it's foul tasting. I don't know how. I don't think it would be good to drink, quite frankly. if it was good, it would be a delicacy, right? Like, there'd be at least some people that try to market that shit to adults. The fact that there is no real market for that, like, you can't go into your local supermarket and go, yeah, gallon of breast milk, please, tells me that it's probably not that great. And so, why would you do that? Because that's just like you're getting half the kink. That's not a kink. That's just you being fucked up with the shit you drink. Me, myself, and Irene. I can't remember that scene. The Send family, how you doing, bro? Breast milk ice cream exists? Wait, really? That reminds me of Homelander from The Boys. I still have to watch The Boys. I keep starting and then about 4 episodes in I get bored. So yeah, I still have to actually pay attention and try to get to season 2. Don't know if that'll happen. We'll see. So it's some kiddo's dinner. I don't even really care about the kid and losing his dinner, because, well, the source of his dinner is right there, you know? So if needs be, just pick him up and give him milk, you know? It's not like you're killing the cow and then drinking the milk, you know? So I'm assuming the kid would still be able to eat. And Jim Carrey's personality first splits and he sucks in a mom's tit who was breastfeeding. Jesus. All right, I think I blocked that out. Manjiro, how you doing, bro? Does it always work that? I think it does. I mean, I know there's some mums who struggle producing milk, but I think that's rare. I could just be very ignorant about this subject matter because I've never had to care about shit like that, right? I may have boobies, but they really don't work that way. So I don't know. And pasteurized as well. Well, that's just how babies like it. Still can't believe it's a thing going on with the breast milk story. Bro, I would love to know who the fuck stole the breast milk. Like who did that? What's the translucent liquid in your Pepsi? Oh, this is just water. It's just normal water. I felt in the mood for water, so I have some water with me. Forza Milan, thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Manjiro, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The lore right now is not even worth discussing. I still have some videos that we did a long time ago that's still going up. But right now, the vast majority of lore is just, there's nothing there. There's nothing to discuss. Because none of it makes fucking sense. It just doesn't make sense. We'll talk a little bit lore today. But right now, I can't speculate on something when I genuinely don't understand the story. I genuinely don't know how we're getting to it. Yeah. I think it's Blizzard office, Pringles. I think it's the Blizzard office, but I could be wrong. I just saw the tweet of people stealing breast milk, and I was like, Jesus. Okay, that's not great. I didn't look into it deeper. Because contrary to popular belief, I'm not a journalist. I don't actually give a fuck about looking into things deeper. I just make up my mind based on what I see. And one thing I can tell you is Blizzard is a fucking dumpster fire, dude. You catch my tweet about the 5 keys and the gift of N'Zoth? Magendo, I'm not sure. I've had a lot of fucking tweets directed at me the last few days. I may have missed it. For some reason, my Twitter has been, popping the fuck off. I don't know why. People should leave me the fuck alone. There's way too many people liking my tweets at the moment. And I don't think my tweets are that good. I just tweet random shit, and then I get like 80 or 100 likes, and I'm like, Jesus, I don't want to log into that crap. That takes a long time to fucking work through. You completed coils yet? No, have not. So we call ourselves degenerates and the like here in this chat, but honestly, I don't think any of us would stoop to stealing breast milk for any reason, Mr. Smoke. And being a degenerate and being a fucking knobhead is not the same thing. I got blocked by Mr. Jim on Twitter for literally no reason. I never tweeted at him. Really? I don't know if Mr. Jim, like, I don't see him as someone who would block people easily. You sure you wasn't, like, attacking you or some shit? Or maybe you tweeted something or replied to a tweet that was sort of bullshit? Because I know there are people who preemptively block people. I barely block anyone. I just ignore. That's the easiest way to do it. Just mute someone and just move on with my life. But, dude, you have to, like, put yourself in the shoes of the person that stole the breast milk. How much confidence must you have in your own ability to explain shit when you decide to just literally drink breast milk? Like, you open the fridge, you go, wow, if I do what I'm thinking right now, this is going to be very hard to explain if someone walks in on me. I'm going to have a hard time explaining this. And then you go, nah, it'll be all right. How? Like, that would be the thing that stops me. That'd be the thing that stops me. That'd be the thing that makes me go, I'm never going to be able to explain this away. Maybe I won't do it, you know? I don't agree with bringing PC culture into video games. At work, people need to be professional. Everyone should just be treated like they're genderless. Just work. There's apps for getting sexy time after work. It's easier than ever. I actually agree with you, Zaja. I don't think being at work has anything to do with PC culture. Now, there is definitely certain things that's happening that is very PC culture, right? And you can sort of immediately realize that, oh my God, these people are pushing an agenda, right? Especially when they start pushing political agendas into video games. That's where I sort of draw the line. But when it comes to in the workplace, I agree with you. You should make a decision, I think, fairly early on in the workplace. You should decide what kind of company do you want to be. So if, for example, you want to be a boys frat club, right? So you just want your developers to run around and say whatever the fuck they want to, make crude jokes and whatever, then don't hire women. Make sure that your office is only filled with men and you have no women working there, right? And if you do hire a woman, then make sure that those women sign up for it, right? That those women, they're perfectly aligned. They want to make the same kind of jokes, right? And they want to work there. All right, no problem. You have your company set up. But if you're trying to be a multinational, massive corporation, yeah, especially when you have these drives to hire women and make more women part of the work culture and make more women part of the development culture and stuff like that, then you have to figure out a way to have all of your people work towards the same goal. And then you can't have men running around and just fucking making crude jokes and shit like that, yeah? By the way, the same goes for women. If you want to work in a place that has no men and you don't have to deal with men's bullshit, then you should be allowed to make your own company that consists only of female developers, right? And I won't bat a fucking eyelid. And if your game is good, I'll play it. And I'll be proud to play that game. If it's a good game. If it's a shit game, it's going to be a shit game no matter who fucking makes it, right? I'm not defending anyone, but without having looked into it, there could be a reasonable explanation for the breast milk thing. What would be the reasonable explanation? People do be labeling like morons and then yelling at people, grab the wrong milk. But wouldn't you immediately taste, though, that, oh my God, that does not taste well? You can't have like trans, LGBTQ, poly, non-binary, whatever, with guys that jokingly call each other gay. True. But this is what I said, right? You have to decide what kind of company you want to be. You have to decide what kind of... So, for example, my streams, I decided very early on that I didn't want, like, woke PC fucking viewers, because I don't want to be guarding the shit that I say. And I don't want my chat to feel like they have to be walking on eggshells so as to not offend people. So if you come into my stream, you either man the fuck up, right, and develop a thick skin and shut your fucking mouth. And if you do feel offended, then realize that you are at least partially responsible for your own offense. And move the fuck on. That's as easy as it is. And if you don't like it here because you feel like it's not a safe environment for you, then there's plenty of other places you can go fucking hang out. Make some more? He is a misogynist. Well, I would say that you should... I think you can taste immediately if it's just fucking, like... If it's not actual milk, you know? YY2, how you doing, bro? Love you too. Thank you very much. I don't know. Like I said before, I have my opinions. Everyone has their own opinions. It might be wrong, but I don't give a fuck. It's mine. And that's just life. You can, but like I said, once it's been popped, can't just put it back. One swig and it's stolen. From what I understand, Apocalypse, like entire bottles went missing. So this wasn't just a guy who took a sip and the lady realized, wow, my bottle is half, right? It was like bottles were literally being stolen with the milk inside of it. So that's my understanding of it, at least. Jimmy Shiva, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If it's more than once, then someone's having a milkshake. Truth. Milk in the US comes in specific containers. It's not something you can make a mistake about. I bet the dudes got drunk and thought it would be funny. Bro, that's the thing that really bothers me the most, right? Jimmy, thanks for joining, dude. Really happy to have you here. Thanks for the first time chat. But that is the thing that bothers me most about this entire thing. It's like, how do you get drunk at work? You know? Like, how do you get drunk at work? That should not be allowed whatsoever, right? Lecter, thank you so much for sub, dude. Really appreciate that. 7 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How you doing, bro? You shouldn't be allowed to fucking do that. Shadowlands being a filler expansion. Neo, does that then mean it's 2 filler expansions? Because BFA was also considered a filler expansion because it was shit too. No, there should be no such thing as a filler expansion. I don't think that gives us a free pass, even if that's the case. If you're going to have a filler expansion, then don't charge me money for it, right? Because you and I both know that this is a shit expansion. Similar, making school buses. You see, I think the problem that I have with allowing alcohol in the workplace as a general rule is you almost create the perfect storm, right, for shit to go wrong. Like, it's almost perfect. Like, something is going to go wrong and there is nothing that you can do about it, because when people get drunk, they cause shit. The vast majority of us know what we're talking about. No one is innocent when it comes to being drunk. You've been drunk before and you know, you turn into the worst version of yourself. So the fact that you would allow people to get drunk at the office is just, it's surreal to me. Cook off, they offer beer, wine, but after work I think could be okay, right? After work could be okay. But I also think there's a level of, so I would say there's a couple of things that people need to start realizing. Context matters, right? Like, context matters. There was this one story during the whole Blizzard, Activision Blizzard thing, right? Where the one lady complained about a get-together that was at a bar, and then the DJ kept wanting the ladies to drink more. And she complained that that made her feel uncomfortable. And my immediate thought was, well, then fucking leave. Like, this is at a bar. They decided to go to a bar, and then I had people coming up to me and saying, dude, if you organize a work party, you should keep everyone in mind. And it's like, no, I don't fucking have to. If I'm at my place of work and I go to all of my buddies and I go, hey guys, let's go out for a drink to this bar, I don't have to fucking keep in mind who else works at the fucking company. I want to go to this bar. It sounds like a good idea. If you don't want to come, don't fucking come. If you feel uncomfortable at the bar, leave. Right? That's not, the responsibility should not always be to try and keep everyone happy. At work, that's a different discussion. When you're at work, you should try and keep everyone happy. But what happens after work, so when people go out to a bar, at that point, I don't have to keep you happy. If I want to go out to this bar, I'll go out to this bar. And if girls don't feel comfortable going to this bar, then they should organize their own fucking get-together, right? Because I also don't think that it was every single girl that felt uncomfortable. There was a couple of girls that felt very uncomfortable in this bar, and the DJ wanting them to drink more. And so to them, this was an incredibly... But to me, it just feels like some people just want their cake and they want to eat it too. It was a strip club, yeah. If you feel uncomfortable at the strip club, don't fucking go to the strip club, right? It's as simple as that. Some people just, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want to go to the strip club, but they never be made to feel uncomfortable. And it's like, what are you doing? You don't get to do that, right? Cheese pizza, no. Because I knock before I enter a room. I dare you do what people do at a bar? I don't know. There are just too many people that complain just for the sake of complaining, right? It's like, yeah, fuck it. I'll complain because not everyone in the world literally fit my schedule or bend to my demands. And it's like, get the fuck out here. Like, get the fuck out. The world owes you nothing. Literally nothing. I don't owe you a safe space. I don't owe you anything. Like, no. You don't get to make demands on me. The only person that is responsible for you is you. I'm not responsible for you feeling good or feeling safe. Get the fuck off. Go take responsibility for your own life and stop trying to be a tyrant and force everyone else to live their lives based on your rules. Especially with the fucking woke crowd, because their rules change weekly. No one can keep up with that shit. And that pisses me off. Like, that pisses me off a lot. The Dragon Mounts, Bundle Akko, the Dragon Mounts. Neo, we will talk about it. We will talk about it, I promise. I haven't forgotten. I have all of the tabs open, don't worry about it. All of the tabs are open in front of me. We have a couple of things that needs to be discussed here. Too far left to where you find everything offensive. Natalie, that's not just the left, by the way. The right does it too. The right does it too. I'll give you a good example of how we all know how the left does it, right? But I'll give you a good example of how the right does it. So there's people on the right that refuse to call trans women. Just refuse, straight up. No, fuck it, I won't. And I always think to myself, if there's a girl that walks up to you, right? She looks like a girl, she talks like a girl, she walks like a girl. It would be very weird if you said, sup, sir, how you doing? Everyone would look at you and go, what the fuck are you doing? This is clearly a girl. What are you doing? And then they get offended when you know, how dare you? And it's like, bro, just calm the fuck. That doesn't destroy shit. Doesn't do anything bad. Just calm the fuck down, right? Like, look, what I won't do is if someone rocks up with a beard and this burly fucking dude with a beard comes up to me and says, you have to call me miss, I'd be like, fuck off. You make no effort, right? You look like a fucking lumberjack and you want me to call you miss? No. I'm not doing that. Make some effort. Try a little bit harder. at least look like a girl and we'd be good, no problem. But I'm not doing that, because that's again gonna be fucking weird to me, right? But I just think another good example of how the right gets offended as well by shit that they shouldn't get offended by. Gay marriage. Why would that offend anyone? Like, it's no one's business but the two people getting fucking married, right? That shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't even fucking faze you. And yet people get offended by it. And then you have the left, they get offended by shit as well, constantly, right? Anything you say that isn't fully inclusive. Now it's even offensive to say men and women, because apparently there's more than just two genders, which I don't agree with at all. There's two. The human species is a binary species. You're either a man or a woman. Like, you can't be anything else. If you want that, then you're part of some alien species that we've never seen. We've never encountered an alien species that has more than these two. So you can't make that up. You can't just dictate to me that I should now call you something else because you feel like something else. That doesn't work. Also, I actually happen to think that the whole multiple gender thing, or that movement, hurts trans women and trans men. Because these are people who genuinely feel as if they're in the wrong body and they want to be the opposite gender. But now you're saying, like, that's okay, but gender is also a social construct. And that's where I go, but then they don't have to be the other gender because it's just a social construct. Right? That makes no sense. Like, your argument falls apart as soon as I start poking at it. But both sides get so offended by shit that you can't have arguments, you can't have discussions, you have to just toe the fucking party line. If you say anything that might offend anyone, they lose their shit and say, oh my God, grow the fuck up. You don't have the right not to be offended. There's never been a rule like that. There's never been a rule like that. Learn to suffer in silence. Shut the fuck up and live your life, right? And if life is too hard for you, move away from everyone and go live somewhere where you don't bother anyone else, because the rest of us just want to get on with our lives. COVID, I agree with you. The problem is too much stuff has been dragged under the gender sexuality banner. Being too inclusive has invited all sorts of crazy bullshit with little no social scientific validity. There are even young people that get offended about trans and gays. I mean, we are supposed to go forward, not backward. Wait, are there? How does that work now? I do know that I feel sorry for white gay men. Do we have any white gay men in the chat? As a minority, I speak for all minorities. Aqua's cool. The King, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Are you the spokesperson for all the minorities? Is there a human interaction, immediate access to echo chambers, and the ability to run from an argument you might lose, as many people unable to deal with anything that doesn't fit in their narrow point of view. Girl, so fucking true. So fucking true. Did you guys see, by the way, what's his fucking asshole? What's this asshole? Hassan. Did you see Hassan blaming, like, anyone who doesn't like him is a racist? That's why they don't like him? Did you guys see that? Neo, well, you didn't have to say, right? You could just keep quiet. But if you're a white gay man, I have so much bad news for you. You're basically the same as me now. You're basically the same as me. You're also very privileged. You don't count anymore. Which is so fucking sad, considering the fact that what makes your life any less valid? Adrian, how you doing? I'm an ally, very close friends with many. I don't view myself as an ally of anyone. I refuse to be relegated to the position of ally. I'm just a person that doesn't give a fuck. Live your best life, right? And as long as your life does not interfere with mine, I don't care. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and I'm happy for you. If that makes you happy, live your life. But I will not be relegated or delegated to an ally. No, you don't get my allegiance just because you exist. If I were to see someone getting abused for who they are, I would absolutely step in. Absolutely. You don't have the right to go after people just for being different. But I'm not your ally. You don't get that automatically from me. Going to work soon, but just wanted to hear from you before I go. Seiji, how you doing, brother? Have a very nice day at work. Arena, he basically said, he basically said that because his worldview is anti-racist, right? And wanting to make lives of the working class better, even though this dude lives in a $3 million mansion and makes millions of dollars every single fucking year. Like, he wants to, like, he's the proper communist, right? The one we all know. Anyone who doesn't like him must then not like him because they are opposed to his worldview, which is anti-racist and anti-poor. I'm like, no, that's not true. I don't like you because I think you're a racist. That's why I don't like you. Because I think you're uninformed. I can't even say misinformed because I think your education let you down. I think you're a moron. And I also think that you're a fucking racist. It's as simple as that. There's no two ways about it. Just because you say your worldview is anti-racist doesn't make it anti-racist. You are a fucking racist. It's what you are. Right? And we can argue about that as much as we want. That is the fucking end of the discussion. You are one. Right? And that's why I don't like you. The fact that you think you're anti-racist just means you're not educated. That's a whole different reason why I don't like you, because I don't particularly like stupid people. Because I think stupid people are a problem. I think they cause a lot of shit for the rest of us. Anti-racism and anti-poor is good, but a very common idea, so nothing special. Who the fuck is this dude? Some asshole. Self-righteous hypocrite. He really is one. He really fucking is one. Yeah, I love that argument. Like, the lack of rationality, right? From any person that goes, if you disagree with me, that makes you a bad person because all my views are valid and good. Like, the sheer lack of rationality within that statement is astounding. I don't know if we need them. Like, I can look at something and go, you know, if someone did that, that'd be really fucking stupid. I don't need someone to do it for me to go, yeah, that was fucking stupid. My fucking desk is still full of dirt, bro. Just sand and dirt everywhere. This wind is relentless. Showed me the other night, books are the reason that depression is an epidemic. The more you read, the more your imagination is fed, the more your intelligence grows, the more you realize that dumb people are just protected by the universe. I don't think you can blame books for that. Because there are plenty of people who believe plenty of bullshit things who are very well read on the bullshit things that they fucking believe. So I don't think you can just blame books for that. Because there are actually some good books out there. Oh, internet articles. Yeah, you should absolutely check yourself if you get... I would say that if you get any of your news from the mainstream, and it doesn't matter which fucking mainstream news organization it is, if it comes from a news organization, you should not believe it. I like example of Alan Turing, gay man without whom we would not have computers, as we know. As we know now, this proves that people are more than their sexuality and we should let people live as they want. and let them reach full potential for benefit as well. 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. I've always said this, right? Your sexuality is, as far as I'm concerned, the least interesting thing about you. Like, it's the one thing I don't care about. When I meet you, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Because I don't think it defines you. I definitely shouldn't. You should definitely not define your life based on who you like to sleep with. That is just stupid. Right? I don't do that. I'm not defined by the fact that I like girls. Not even close. I like girls, but I also have a lot of other things that has nothing to do with my like for girls. Which I actually think is far more important than my like for girls. So your sexuality means nothing to me. I'm far more interested in who you are as a person. Because I think those are the things that's interesting. Like, who are you as a person? Now, if who you like, so if your sexuality, for example, influenced your view on things, that could be an interesting discussion. Right? So you could come to me and say, well, I actually have this view on it based on my life experience, right? So based on my experience as a gay man or whatever, this is how I view this. And that would be an interesting discussion, because I could go, okay, that's interesting, because as a straight guy, this is actually how I experienced it. So why do you think our experiences are different? And we could hash that out. But your argument was made interesting. That doesn't make you inherently interesting. Why you're talking as if stupidity is a moral trait. There are tons of foolish but nice people. Ignorance is not an evil. Patches, what we're talking about here is a different kind of stupid. Because we're not talking about people who are just ignorant about stuff. And very specifically, people who are ignorant know they're ignorant and, doesn't really care that they're ignorant, because you can't know everything about everything, right? It's impossible. You can't know everything about everything. A medical engineer is going to be an absolute moron if you put him in a mechanic's garage, yeah? Because he doesn't know shit about cars, and you won't trust him to fix your car either. You're going to want a mechanic that knows how to fucking fix a car to work on your car, because when it comes to cars, this guy is a fucking genius. So I'm 100% with you there. It's not about being a moral trait or not. The kind of stupidity and ignorance we're talking about here are people that is stupid and ignorant and yet try to teach everyone else how they should live. That is the issue. It's these people that don't know what they don't know and yet try to teach everyone else what they should know. We have to differentiate between the types of stupidity the human race is capable of. Oh, I don't think. It's not necessarily hypocrisy here. Mr. Patch, because hypocrisy, as far as I'm concerned, at least in my own view, and this could be wrong, but in my own view, hypocrisy is more when you know that you don't know, right? You still pretend to, right? Or more of that sort of do as I say, not as I do kind of thing, right? So you know what the right way is, but you preach something completely different, yeah? Whereas what we're talking about here is more, you see this a lot in young people. I know, because I used to be a young person, right? And I was exactly the same. They think they know everything about the world, right? Go to any university campus today and go talk to the students there, and they will have, without any inclination of doubt whatsoever, they will tell you how the world should work based on their own worldview, right? And you listen to them and you think to yourself, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what the real world is about. I'll give you guys the perfect example. I have a friend, right? She works for a medical pharmaceutical company, right? Big pharma. When I met her, she was in university. She was still studying. I think she was in her 4th year or something like that. And this girl was a true socialist, 100% socialist, right? Believed that the world should be almost communist, and that human beings specifically doctors and things, earn way too much money. Taxes should be close to 95% for the top 1% of people. And then she got this job and she rose up in the ranks. And now her salary is top 1% level of salary. Yeah? And suddenly she complains about all the taxes and about the government wasting her money because they take her taxes, but they don't do the things that they say they're going to do. And I just say to her how the tables have turned. Because now that you're in the real world and you realize that life is fucking expensive and you work your ass off for the money that you get paid, it doesn't feel nice when the government comes in and takes something that they didn't earn, does it? Now you know. When you're a young student, you have no fucking clue where money comes from. Your parents just pay it into your bank account. Who cares, right? Uni students have the bad habit of learning about worldviews for the first time and suddenly become righteous in whatever they've adopted. Truth. I was like that. I was 100% like that. So I'm not even judging them for this. I was exactly like that. Even if I choose to move on, the people that actually make decisions that affect me are listening to them. True. They will let you move on. It's just getting to the point where extreme poles of both sides aren't willing to just let folks move on. Some people are born stalkers and stalk you till you listen, if you want or not. True. True. Neo, I am still young. That is true. But, I mean, I have some experience now in the real world, right? It's not as if I know where money comes from. I know how hard you have to work for your money. I know what it takes to be successful, or at least be on the road to success, which I didn't know as a student. I'll be honest. Every month at the same time, my money would be paid into my bank account. My credit card was always available, right? I didn't have a fucking clue what money was. Who cares? My dad makes money, I get the money, I spend the money. So it's easy to then dream of a world where everyone has what you have. Because it's only now that I realize my dad works 7 days a week. He gets up at 5 a.m. every single morning and he works till 7, 8, 9 p.m. in the evening. So I can look at my dad now and go, the man works his fucking ass off to make sure that I had that life, right? To make sure that I could go to university and study whatever the fuck I wanted, completely free of charge, by the way. I didn't have to take out a bank loan or anything like that. My dad paid for all of it out of pocket, plus my living expenses. I mean, I lived in an apartment. I didn't even have to live on campus. I had my own apartment. I had my own car. I actually had 3 cars in my life. One when I finished high school. Actually, in my final year of high school, I got a car. And then I got a car when I went to university. Then that one got stolen. And then I got a new car, right? That was my car. I could keep it. As soon as I was finished studying, it was my car. I could keep it and I could sell it. I eventually ended up selling it. And at the time, I had no idea how privileged I was, how lucky I was to be in that position. But it wasn't privileged because of how I was born, right? It was privileged because my dad worked his fucking ass off to give it to me. Because he started with nothing. I remember the stories now, looking back at it, the stories that my mom and my dad told me of my dad working 2 jobs. He would work in his private practice in the morning, right, or during the day, and then he would come home for an hour, take a quick nap, and then he would rush to the hospital and he would work night shift in the hospital just to make ends meet, just to fucking have food on the table. That was his life. You know, and no one tells you these things. So it's easy when you're a young person to think, oh my God, you know, life should be fair and everyone should have the same shit. Until you get into the real world and you realize, well, why should they get more than what I have when I'm working twice as hard as they are? Neo, I studied drama, so I wasted my dad's money in many ways. Kel, I was lucky. I'm not gonna lie. I was very lucky. But again, you know, so I don't know if this is true. I mean, obviously I can't say that it's true, because there's no way of knowing. But I will say that, to my mind, I think the secret to success is to keep going. No matter what, just keep going, keep working, keep fucking, the English have a nice word for it. The Americans actually have a nice word for it. Trying to remember the word now. Fuck. Keep hustling. That's the one. Keep hustling. That's how you become successful. By just doing everything, anything. Keep going. Keep hustling. Keep fucking working. Eventually, you will reach success. The issue is most people don't want to do that. Most people just want to start a job. They want to work at Starbucks and also be rich. And it's like, no one works at Starbucks to be rich. Starbucks can't afford to make you rich because then they would go bankrupt. You work at Starbucks for some experience so that you can get a better job, right? Most people don't want that. They want to be a fucking burger flipper at McDonald's and make good money. It's like, no, there's zero skill involved in being a burger flipper at McDonald's. There's skills that you learn, right? That you can then apply in a new job. But as for flipping burgers at McDonald's, there's no skill. What are you paid for? Because there's a robot that can do exactly what you do and probably better. You believe if they keep hustle, the WoW story is going to make sense again? No, because you also have to apply some thought to it, right? Because that's a different discussion. If we really wanted to jump into this now, you can't. You also have to think about what your hustle is. Yeah? Because if all you do is be a burger flipper at McDonald's for 16, 17 hours a day, you're not making money and you're never going to make money. Because there's nothing to grow from there. So when it comes to WoW, if they just keep hustling and keep writing story, it's not necessarily going to get better because I think they're still making fundamental mistakes that isn't going to get better. Yeah, man, guys, continue your studies, work hard, and find a great job. I don't even think you should need to study. In fact, I think one of the greatest lies told to the American public is that every student needs to go to university. I think that's bullshit. I think I feel extremely sorry for American students because they live in a country where, with the help of the government, institutions, specifically colleges and the like, have created the perfect fucking grifting system. They set up a system that is so expensive that you need bank accounts, like bank loans, in order to pay for the system. The bank loans are then set up in such a way that you almost never pay them back. Like, it's almost impossible to ever pay them back. The job market is such that the vast majority of students that go to university will never find a fucking job. There are things being taught in university that shouldn't be in universities, but because universities have been allowed to become a career, an actual institute, a business, no longer a teaching facility, but a business, they want to make money. So they keep selling students these moronic things that they can do after school, or these moronic careers that is dead end, goes nowhere. Grow, I would say it's not even that great for networking either. Because the only people that really get to network at university are the people that's already connected before they get in, due to family ties and the like. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't some people who get very successful based on the relationships that they sort of built in university. But overall, I think it's still a good path to study. I think STEM will always be a good path to study everywhere. Because STEM is actually one of the few fields where you're always going to struggle. For my rapid test. What rapid test is that, Stray? Still have like 5 years of student debt to pay off, and I've never used my degree professionally. A lot of fields are either become a teacher in that field or get non-specialized jobs. Everyone focuses on personal growth these days. I just think it's overrated and annoying. I mean, personal growth can be a good thing to focus on. It can absolutely be a good thing to focus on. I would say it's far more important to focus on personal growth. The problem is just how do you define personal growth? Right? Because if you just define personal growth as being able to sit around a fireplace and sing Kumbaya, that's not really growth. That's just you trying to find some kind of rationality for you being lazy. Fallen Highwind, how you doing? But everyone who talks about personal growth doesn't even know what it means. True. Sadly true. It's interesting to me the amount of people these days, and I see it quite a lot with young people specifically, who just start working, who basically just waste their lives on needless pursuits. Good, I hope you're well. I can't complain, Fallen. It's a good day. It's a fun day. Of course, my friend is sick. Thought I'd do a rapid and see if I'm positive. All right, and you're negative, I'm assuming. New Age spirituality, stress shadow work, which is personal growth. People training in the gym for personal growth. I laugh at this. I mean, going to the gym can be rewarding, and it can actually contribute to personal growth. I'll tell you this much. If I go to the gym, I have far more, what do you call it? Confidence. Like I have far more confidence. I feel like I can take on the world. I feel far more connected to myself going to the gym. But that's just one of the tools, right? That's a tool that you can use, but it's not. I get the point that you're making. Found a Cape Town gym yet? No, I haven't. I just work out at home right now. Like there's a couple of gyms around me. The problem is that I still have a gym membership at Planet Fitness, and the closest Planet Fitness to me is like half an hour drive. So it's an hour's drive there and back every day. I'm not doing that. I'm not fucking doing that. Not to go to the gym. So for now, I'm just gonna pay off that gym membership that I still have active, and then I'll get a local gym here to go to. Yeah, because I wanted to start boxing. I actually went to a lesson for boxing, and then I realized, well, if I pay the gym membership plus the boxing, it's going to be fucking stupidly expensive. That just seems like a waste of money. Plus, I can't really get the gym to drop the membership, even though I'm nowhere close to a gym. I signed up for another year. I have to finish the year. Zotster, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. Signed up for 2022. Well, actually, what happened with the gym is, you remember during the hard lockdown? Last year, actually. Yeah, last year during the very hard lockdown, the gym was closed for like 3 months. And so what they did is they moved, without telling us, they just moved everyone's gym membership 3 months on. So during those 3 months, we didn't actually pay for the gym, right? And I didn't realize, because it just goes off my bank account, so I didn't realize that I'm not actually paying for the gym. And then I thought, like, the gym is ending now in December. And I phoned them up and I'm like, hey, I want to cancel my gym membership. And like, yeah, okay, we'll cancel it for you in March. I'm like, no, I want to cancel it now. I don't have any need for the gym. And like, no, your contract only expires in March. And then they explained it to me and I'm like, fuck my life. I don't want to be part of this bullshit. Like, I can't go to your gym. Your gym is an hour's drive. Don't care. You signed up. You have to fucking finish it. So it's a sore spot at the minute. Well, nice, Stray. Sign up for a gym, but I don't want to be around people. I would say going to the gym is such a cool fucking experience, dude. It really is fun. Alright, CC, see you in a bit, bro. Are they allowed to do that without you agreeing? Jurgen, I don't think there's a law that stops them from doing that because they were closed for those 3 months. Because our lockdown said that gyms and everything had to be closed. So because they were closed for those 3 months, they just did it. As a nice, probably. Like, as a thing to do that's nice for people. So, I mean, I don't know. Aureus, how you doing, bro? And yeah, I'm gonna be watching Witcher Season 2 as soon as people stop with their barbecue bullshit. I'm so excited for Witcher Season 2. So fucking excited for it, dude. I've been to gyms before, but I'm not fond of being around people. Plus, this whole COVID shit is annoying. The thing is, so here's the problem with not wanting to be around people. More often than not, it can be described as some kind of social anxiety, right? Like, you feel anxious when you're around people and you don't want to be near them, so you sort of refuse to go anywhere near them. The problem is that makes it worse. The only way to get over social anxiety is to actually go out and face your fears. You have to start going out into public. You have to start facing people. And this is what I found in the gym. It became easier to face people. It became easier to sort of walk in the shop and not give a fuck, because that's the only way you grow, is if you actually interact with people. If you keep yourself away from people, you're just going to become more and more socially anxious, and eventually you're not going to be able to even leave the house because, you know, for whatever fucking reason. I don't feel anxious, I feel angry at people. Mepster, you do know that anxiety can present itself in a number of ways. Look, here's the thing, and I don't think this is news to anyone in chat, but human beings, we are a social creature. We do actually like other people. So if you ever find yourself in a place where you go, I don't like other people, then you may be suffering from a little bit of anxiety for whatever reason, but there might be some anxiety there, because technically you should like other people. You should want to be around other people because you were evolved for other people. We are pack animals. First and foremost, we are pack animals. Agenda, we can adapt to a whole lot of things. It doesn't mean our minds adapt. Which, no, I would say that you are wrong on that front. We can adapt, you're very correct. But have you ever asked yourself why suicides are up by incredible numbers because of lockdowns? Like, we are seeing record suicides. Numbers we've never seen before. Just because you can adapt to something doesn't make it good. Just means you can adapt. Human beings are not meant to smoke, yet we adapt and we can smoke. We're not meant to. It's not good for us. But we can do it, right? Remember the first time, any smokers in the chat? Remember the first time that you smoked? You coughed and it felt fucking horrible. You adapted. You learned how to. Just because you can learn how to do something doesn't mean it's still good for you. It can be very bad for you, and you still adapted to live with it. But you know, there's actually more than enough psychological studies that show that being alone without any human interaction is very bad for you. Psychologically, it is very, very bad for you. Like, even loners, and that is a thing. You get people that is very, like, they like being alone. But even loners require some human stimulation every once in a while. Even if it is just going to the shop or going to a restaurant once a month or once every 6 months. You still need some human interaction. If you completely box yourself up from humanity. So there was a lady, this is actually very, very, very long ago. She's one of the greatest poets of South Africa ever. Ingrid Jonker, I believe was her name. I believe that was her name. Could be wrong. But she suffered from depression, like heavy depression. And she kept moving away from humanity, like, isolating herself a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And ultimately, she moved to the middle of nowhere to a little cottage by the ocean. They found her one morning. She literally just walked into the ocean and drowned. She just killed herself. That's it. She just walked into the ocean and drowned. See, because in her mind, it was the people that was driving her crazy. It wasn't the people that was driving her crazy. It was the lack of people. It was the lack of love, the lack of warmth, the lack of sincerity that was driving her crazy. And the more she moved away from people, the more she felt like she had to get away because there's too many people in her way. And the worse things got for her. So I think it's a dangerous game if you try to keep yourself away from all people at all times. Well, we have streamers to be the human interaction for loners. I mean, that's a good discussion to have. Say, Arena. Can this, what we're doing right now, yeah? We're hanging out, obviously, and we're having a discussion. You guys are chatting, I'm answering, we're having conversation. Can this replace real life conversations? Is it at all possible for this to replace real life interaction? Because that's what people like Mark Zuckerberg tries to do with the metaverse, right? Trying to create this sort of second world in which people can completely live without actual physical human interaction. And my thinking around it is, because we have to ask ourselves, because all of it eventually comes down to your mind, right? Can you fool your mind into believing that this is the interaction that it craves? Because if your mind knows that this isn't actually the information or the life that it craves, then it's not going to replace it.
People used to leave the radio on, then the TV on, so that they had that human voice that wasn't their own. Then streaming has 100% replaced that requirement people have. Streamers do connect to a lot of people that are often ostracized from society at large.
Very true. Thanks for the 100 bits, Alpaca. We appreciate it. Very true, right? I would go so far as to say 80% of Twitch viewership are people who don't really fit into society. You know, we're gamers, we're weird, our sense of humors are different. The things we like talking about aren't necessarily mainstream. You know, I saw it yesterday. I quickly went down to the barbecue to say hello to people there, and people ask me what I do, and I'm like, I'm a gamer, I'm a YouTuber, I stream on Twitch, and not a single person there had any idea what I did. You know, they don't care. It's not their world. It's not their life. It's very difficult. It's a weird life because you don't actually have the ability to actually connect with a whole lot of people because there's so few people that do what we do and like what we like. And yes, Twitch does give us that ability. It gives us the ability to slot into a community that thinks the same way that we do. You know? Chengi, I did hear, yes. Interesting question. Honestly, the clubs in 14 had me rethinking things after attacking folks in DJ. It was a huge eye-opener for me mentally. Just tell them you're a live broadcaster. It sounds cool and rich. Yeah, but even that, most people don't understand. The Twitch thing is actually easier to solve than the gamer thing. Because most people view it as a waste of time. Do you have any idea how many girls I've met with and actually went on dates with that ask me, what are your hobbies? And I'm like, I'm a gamer. I'm like, why? And I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know. Why do you read or go for fucking jogs? It's fun. The fuck kind of question? Why? I didn't ask you to justify your fucking hobbies 5 minutes ago. Why are you asking me to justify mine? I'm doing it because I like it, obviously. Right? But they don't understand it. Because according to most people, at least in South Africa, gaming is for kids. You know, kids play video games and then they grow up and they do grown-up things. And then you meet a grown-up, well, as much as you can qualify me as a grown-up, I suppose. But then you meet a grown-up and they play video games and you think to yourself, how? Why? Why would this guy play video games? Arnold, you beast. Thank you for tier 2 sub to really appreciate 20 months in a row. Love you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just not as developed in the brain yet. I used to think esports is laughable, but things like Twitch and coincidentally you played a part in my mind, in my change of mind on it. I mean, I will be honest with you. Esports is the future. The same can be said why you like sports or other things. Kinara, very true. Very true. People tend to be resistant to things that they don't understand. And let's be real, the image of a gamer, I don't do much to clean that up, right? This fat guy living in his mom's basement, playing video games all day. You see me, I'm a gamer, you go, oh yeah, okay, I understand now. You know, it doesn't, like, the thing is, most of them don't understand just how...
That's terrible. Have a dumpling.
Scam is train, let's go.
You guys are actually close to starting this Kamal train. And Daddy needs him some money. So, let's go. Give me your money, fucks. Give me your money. I want it. No. People don't understand. Here's something that's really interesting to me. I had this conversation about a month ago with someone. I don't think people understand just how sociable gamers actually are. That's very interesting to me. When I hear people go, don't you get lonely just playing video games all day? And I'm like, lonely how? You do realize that it's super connected. Like, you're playing with your friends, you're fucking hanging out on Discord. This was actually a conversation a couple of years ago with a girl that I was sort of dating. And she asked me who's my best friend. I'm like, oh, it's a guy that lives in the UK, Skills. He lives in the UK? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, but that's not a real friend. Who's your real friend? I'm like, no. How can you say that's not a real friend? That is... He's my fucking friend. Like, what are you talking about? It's not a real friend. She says, yeah, but you never see each other. I'm like, bitch, we talk more than anyone else could ever fucking speak in real life. At the time, we were sort of hanging out literally every single day, talking for 10, 12 hours, just gaming together. You know, it's like, I know everything about this guy. He knows everything about me. We talk about everything. How is that not a friend? I think the world still has a weird view when it comes to gamers. They think we're just these people that can't talk to people. In reality, we talk to people all the time. More often than not, Serena, that is very true. Sure, we thought it was imaginary. Possible. I consider you a buddy, Akko. I tell other streamers about my buddy that streams an essay. Nice, unforgive one. I appreciate that. Friend, okay, I can get that, but being in a relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, I don't understand. What? Long distance? King Julian, not today, no. I don't have much time. I don't have much time. So, Aureus, here's something interesting about how many people in chat are sort of averse to long distance relationships. You feel like long distance relationships don't work? Because I have some very interesting data on long distance relationships. I'm for it. I'm for it as long as we meet one day, sure. Friendship through games are most based on personality, while IRL friendships are infected by looks as well. Friendships more meaning, depth, I'd say. Do work for a while, but then someone has got to make the move eventually. All right, so when we're talking about long distance relationships, we're not talking about those relationships where people are dating for 3 years and they've never met each other. That is not a long distance relationship. That's a crutch. Right? That is literally just two people. They don't want to be alone, right? So they phone sex each other all the time and take naughty pictures for each other because they just don't want to be alone. That's it. It's not really a relationship. I don't think it counts as a relationship. But the data on long distance relationships show that they are far more successful. 75% of all online relationships end in marriage versus 25% IRL relationships. That is incredible numbers. Online relationships are far more successful at ending in marriage and long-term marriage than IRL relationships are. And I believe, so this is just me sort of guessing, because the person that I was watching was just running through the numbers. It was a TED Talk years ago. They were just sort of running through the numbers. They didn't actually give a reason for it. But I believe one of the major reasons for it is, as Nairber just said there, when you meet online, right, you don't have sex or fooling around to fall back on. Boredom has to be overcome by conversation, actual conversation between two people. You get to know each other on a level that I think is far deeper than you would IRL. Because that's all you have. You just have the ability to speak to one another. You don't have the ability to have sex or to go out on dates with friends and sort of distract yourself from maybe problems that arise. So you get to know this person on a rather intimate level pretty quickly. But then you have to meet. So the sort of baseline is within 6 months. If you go longer than 6 months, it starts to fall apart. But couples who meet each other online and then meet each other in person within 6 months, 75% of those relationships end up in marriage. Even if they after that go back to their homes. So they say he flew to her, they had 2 weeks, amazing 2 weeks together, and then he flies back home and now they're long distance again. Those relationships will ultimately end up in marriage. You see, because our relationship wasn't based on... So I've always said, I think sex destroys relationships. Before I explain why, is there anyone in chat right now that goes, bullshit, Akalon? I don't agree with you at all. So the statement can, but not always, I agree. I should clarify the statement maybe. I think sex too early destroys relationships. You see, I think what happens when you finally have sex is, and we all know this, anyone that's ever been in a relationship, you end up being like bunnies, right? And I've been in a relationship that sex sort of took the place of conversation. Whenever we had to deal with an issue within the relationship, whenever an issue arose that actually just required some discussion, we just revert to sex, right? Just start fooling around and end up having sex. So the problems never actually gets discussed. I've also, in that exact same relationship, eventually the sex is no longer there because you start getting more angry and angry with one another to the point everyone knows that angry sex is fun. But there's a point where you're so livid that you can't think about having sex. And then friends ended up replacing the conversation. So you just go out with friends and you basically ignore each other. So I think that's where online relationships have that one up. It's you can't have sex. So you're forced to communicate and sort of figure shit out. And I think if you're in a relationship, it's one of the reasons I'm actually a proponent of waiting. Not for marriage. That is a fucking long time to wait. But I am a proponent of waiting. I have no problem with waiting 3 to 6 months in a relationship before having sex. Because I believe that you first need that foundation to be okay. And then once the foundation is good, from there it doesn't matter, right? Because from there it actually just adds to the relationship. Because I think as much as sex can ruin a relationship, I also believe that it adds a lot to the relationship. It brings far more intimacy. It makes the relationship just far more solid if it's done right. But I've never been a fan of the new hookup culture. I think one of the main reasons or drivers behind the modern day divorce rate is hookup culture. I can imagine that, Serena. Teenager full of hormones, there is no waiting. True, it is hard when you're a teenager. That's all that dating apps have become. So fucking true. So true. The dating apps is nothing more than just hookup. Just finding people to hook up with. I don't get it. I don't get it. Because I'll be honest with you, sex is good, but it's not that good. I should clarify this again. Sex is not that good with people that you don't know. It is far better when it's someone that you fucking know. I don't get hookup culture, dude. I've never been into it. Never. One night stands is the biggest fucking scam on earth. The only time one night stands are good is if both people are drunk and they don't care. Try and have a one night stand when you're sober. Bro, you're so in your head. There's no way to relax whatsoever. Before I met my husband, I went on a date. After the date, the guy texted me. He was disappointed. We didn't have sex. I was like, are you leaving me like a Yelp review? Easy. You should have asked him how many stars you got. Better best friend with benefits than hopping around from wiener to wiener. True. There are some people that like hopping around from wiener to wiener, though. That is just a fact. Sex should be the cherry on top. Brio, by the way, thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate it. Be the cherry on top. If there is no proper relationship, sex doesn't keep fulfillment on long roads. Sorry for my English. Your English is fine, and I absolutely agree with you. I don't know, Apocalypse. I genuinely don't know. I saw the auto mod on that, and Twitch said cherry. Disgusting. Some mod working at Twitch was just like, I fucking loathe cherries. No one will say cherry in this fucking on this platform. I think that you can find someone that you can connect to to hand have healthy relationship between is the best way, but that's just how I see it. I agree with you, Kinara, 100%. Fruit bowls, bro? Truth. That and Sundays, I suppose. But no, I think at the end of the day, everyone does what they want to do, right? And if it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt anyone else, you should be allowed to just do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Don't worry, you can say it now. We allowed it. Automod caught it, and then as soon as we say allow, it gets added to the allowed words. Tried Tinder once, went over to the lady's place, drank a bit. She fell asleep. I sat there not knowing what to do with myself. Eventually she woke up and I bailed home, never again. Templar what? Wait, I just want to ask. You went over to the lady's house on the first date? Because that is a bold move. That is a bold move. Also, like, not the right move, I would say. So first and foremost, the fact that she invited you to her place suggests to me that she wanted to have sex. The fact that you went to her place might be the reason why she decided not to have sex with you. You should have turned it around right there and you should have said, why don't you come over to my place? Because that way she's now the one pursuing you, and you would have had, you would have gotten booty. No questions asked. Going over to her place, I don't think I would ever do that on a first date. I would never do that on a first date. That is way too intimate for me. Way too intimate. The only way I would end up at a lady's place on the first date is if I'm picking her up at her place on the first date, which is also oftentimes not something I do. 50-50 for sex or organ harvesting operation. True, but if it's... yeah, that could be a dangerous one as well, right? That could be a dangerous one. I met a girl on Tinder about 3 months ago who sent me an address and everything to come over to her place. And I was immediate. That was the first thought that came into my mind. Wait a second. What if this is like not a lady? What if I rock up there and they go, ooh, fat guys. There's a market for fat guys in the in like the fucking Ukraine or wherever sex trafficking shit goes, right? So I was like, nope, I'm gonna pass on this one. Become a platform for women to advertise their social medias and they don't want relationships. I agree, sadly. Cask, how you doing, bro? You should go out for something first. Going straight to the house is either high school dating or strange. I went on a date with an old guy that looked like you, Lori, and he fell asleep on my couch after dinner. Fuck. That must be sad. Bro, you must be extremely relaxed if you fall asleep on the first date. My studies and get a job, but can focus on that later. Kinara, I would say keep focusing on yourself. Yuva, how you doing? Keep focusing on yourself. If there's one thing that I think most people should realize is that no matter what sex you are, confidence and success is a major driver to attraction. If you're confident and you work hard and you're successful at what you do, you instantly become more attractive to the opposite sex. Instantly. No matter what happens, the opposite sex is instantly attracted to you. So you should actually never be focused on finding that significant other. What's the rush? They'll find you when they see you. And when you appeal to them, they'll be like, all right, I want to get to know this person. And then just be open for it. That's actually the best way to put it. Don't go for it. Don't look for it. Be open to it. Shamanita, how you doing? Many find raw motivation sexy. True. Look, I mean, so this is stuff that I go back and forth on a lot. I think about it a lot, actually. Not go back and forth, but I think about it a lot. I'll tell you guys this, but I have to be quiet because they're literally just outside, right? So yesterday, one of the guys that's here at the barbecue, we're standing there, we're talking. He's not a particularly nice looking guy. He's very average. Nothing special about the guy, right? And his wife walks in. His wife walks in. Like I think they went to the shop and his wife walks in. And I stood there and I was like, how the fuck did this guy get her? She is gorgeous, dude. Absolutely fucking gorgeous. Like, he's a bit of a bigger guy. He's got a nice little belly on him. You know, very fucking sort of straight up just random guy. And she is just built fucking amazingly well. Beautiful girl. And as we got to know each other, very quickly realized, that's how he got her. This dude is highly successful. He built his own construction company from the ground up. He works his fucking ass off. He's very, very successful, well rich. That's how he got her. And I immediately thought to myself, I don't think it's the money, because he actually met her before he made money. Like, he met her before he started his company. Like, he started his company whilst they were dating. So it's not the money that got her. It's the confidence. It's the fact that this dude, even then, before he started his company, he knew that he was going places. He knew that he was going places. And that caught her attention. And from there, it didn't matter what he looked like. It didn't matter that he wasn't the guy with the six-pack. It was, this guy interests me. Evans, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not particularly, no. Maybe to her, but not as far as I could tell. Maybe our brand of comedy is different, but yeah. I think, so that's why, because you see it often. How often do you guys see people in the shops? You look at the guy, you look at the girl, and you go, how the fuck did that guy get that girl? How often does that happen? Because it happens quite often with me. I'll see this guy that's very sort of bland, plain, nothing special about him. And then you see his girl and you're like, Jesus, she could literally date anyone. Why is she with this guy? And I guarantee you now, because I also thought for a long time it's money. Must be money. Just gold diggers going after money. But as I kept growing, as I grew up and as I kept thinking about it, I started wondering to myself, could it be more than money? Could it actually be, because in order to have money, right? In order to make money, you require confidence. You have to be, like, it's very rare that you will find someone with zero confidence be rich. Mostly it's people that believe in themselves. They're willing to go for shit. They're willing to work for shit because they believe in themselves. They know that they can do it, and so they go for it. And I think that's what catches the attention of the other side. I mean, that is definitely something. I don't think it's just money, like I said. Money could definitely play a part, but I don't think it's money and money alone. Twister, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that, because the things we're talking about here is, we're talking about basic instincts. These aren't things that you can think about. These aren't sort of superficial things. It's stuff that comes extremely primal. For example, the idea of finding a strong mate for your offspring so that your offspring may live, this is an evolutionary trait that people have without even thinking about it. You don't think about, does the girl have wide enough hips? And is the man confident enough? These are things that just, it's naturally selected within the human species. So I think even today's girls, I think, may appear superficial, but look at the men that they eventually end up with. I think you'll find that in many cases it's not the rich guy that she ends up marrying. In many cases she ends up with the guy that is going to be best for her offspring. Successful at dating when I was at my highest self-confidence, and I'm someone with really low self-esteem. Sometimes the truth is you have to exude confidence. Think about, let's not even think about sexually. We all know at least a couple of people in our lives that everyone just wants to be friends with. That one guy in your life that people just love the guy. They just rotate towards him. He makes people laugh. He makes people feel happy. You just enjoy being around this person. And specifically why I said let's remove sexual attraction. There's no sexual attraction. It's the confidence that this person have is rubbing off on people. It makes people feel interested because we want to know, where does it come from? How are you so confident in your own abilities? And that is a major driver, I think, for everyone, really. But ultimately, we could also take the view that all relationships is purely based biological, which really takes the love thing out of it, but it's not wrong. There is evidence to suggest that it's all just biological. We all choose our mates based on genetic viability. Without giving a fuck. True. I'll tell you what, right? I've always been a fat guy. I've never been a skinny guy. There's never been a day in my life that I was skinny, except for the first 3 years of my life. It's the only time I've ever been skinny, when I was from 1 to 3. And then I got fat. I got so many goals in university, dude. Or at university. So many fucking goals. I got more goals than most of my friends who were all six-packs and fucking built well. You want to know why? Because I genuinely have always been a guy that just doesn't give a fuck. I do whatever the fuck I want. I don't ask permission. I don't even say sorry if things go wrong. I just go. I just do my thing. And I'm willing to do anything. And I was a party animal. Like, every single night there would be a party at my house. And people would come to my house and we would fucking drink and we would have fun. And I had goals lined up. It wasn't because of my looks. I guarantee you that. The goals weren't going, oh my god, I've always wanted a guy with moobs. Like, no, there was no goal thinking that. I genuinely think it had to do with the fact that, how is this guy so confident? How is it that this guy walks around just not giving a fuck? I would go up to random girls in bars, dude. Random. Fucking I've never seen her before. Just be like, hey, you're fucking hot. Let's go dancing. Wouldn't give a shit. In some of the alt jobs on your Final Fantasy 14 character. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do alt jobs. But right now, I need to get to max level. But no, I'm probably going to try and level every single job. Guys care more about themselves. Women hate that. Fake it till you make it. It wasn't even fake. It was just a case of, so I think it was sort of a mixture of things. But one of the things that I really liked is I didn't fit in in college. I didn't fit in to the mold of the other people that went to study drama. Because all the people that went to study drama are these broken, tortured fucking artist types. And here's a guy that I'm not broken. I'm not tortured. I was never bullied in school. I was never really. I was always a nerd, but I was never considered a nerd, right? Because I played rugby all the years of my schooling. Played cricket. I did every single sport you can imagine. I was one of the fucking cool kids in school. So now I end up on this college that's filled with kids that were bullied in school and fucking, tortured and dark and shit. And I was just not like that. So I stood out. I was different to everyone else on that campus. Because the university that I studied at had 4 different campuses. The one campus, the main campus, was where the engineers and the people went to study. And then they had this arts campus, which was like kilometers away from it. And all the artists was on this art campus. So I just stood out as completely different to the rest of the campus. And I think that's what sort of led to it. I think everyone understood what both of you were trying to say, but I realized there's an argument going on in chat right now. Big people. You think fat people have bigger hearts and are more open-minded? I don't necessarily know if that's true. I think automatically, generally speaking, fat people would be probably funnier and would probably be well developed, not better developed, but well developed. And the reason for it is I never had the luxury of falling back on my looks, right? I could never just take off my shirt and have a six-pack and have people like that. So I always had to rely on me, right? Who am I? Can I make people laugh? Can I fit in based purely on the words coming out of my mouth? That's all I had. So you are sort of forced by necessity, if you want to fit in, to also learn how to take a joke, how to make a joke. But I wouldn't say that fat people are more open-minded. I've met plenty of fat people that is extremely closed-minded. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that. I don't necessarily. Charisma is my dump stat. True. Also, I happen to be. I've always been very sarcastic, and sarcasm is, as far as I'm concerned, the best form of comedy. So that comes very naturally to me. Apparently, even as a kid, I drove my mum crazy because she'd ask me a question and I would almost always answer extremely sarcastically. Even now, I'd say 90% of all my interactions are very sarcastic in nature. And it helps because people laugh at that. And I've heard that as soon as a girl laughs at your jokes, you're halfway in. What are you doing? Yeah, come on, just chilling. I don't think I would ever in my entire life have said just chilling. Dr. Cream Soda, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, I don't think I would ever have used the words just chilling. That pissed me off, I think, from the day I was born. But no, I've like... Yeah, I'm one of those people that would like very happily say, like, make an entire conversation just out of sarcasm. Like, every single stupid question you have will almost always be answered in complete and utter sarcasm. Can you take out the bins? I don't know, can I? I've grown a dislike of the phrase, it is what it is. Why? That's one of my favorite sayings. I mean, obviously, most of my life I spent speaking Afrikaans, so most of my examples would be Afrikaans examples of me being very sarcastic. I believe it is what it is to be one of the greatest sayings in the world ever. Because I think that is a healthy way to look at the world. If shit goes wrong, just go, well, that happened. It is what it is. You know? Can't change it. You can either accept it or you can fight it, but your fighting it isn't going to change it. Most of the time it's used, it's based on when some asshat human made it that way. Yeah, but humans, almost all things that humans do is made by humans, right? Doesn't mean you can fight against it. For example, I can tell you now, I hate the banking industry. Can't change it. I can hope for its death, but I can't change it. So it is what it is, you know? Bunch of thieves running around getting rich. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Speaking of it is what it is, while we're pissing off Pomero, Blizzard is what it is. And I wanted to discuss this even though the news came out yesterday, I believe. I still wanted to discuss it. Now that everyone's here, I think we can absolutely hang out and quickly discuss this. Now, I want to discuss this actually sort of in a comparative way. I don't think I am being, shall we say, dramatic when I say that Blizzard have had a very horrible year. I don't think anyone here would disagree with me on that. I do know that everything's a fuck up. The wind is so horrible. I do apologize for the noise. But I don't think I'm being dramatic if I say that Blizzard have had a very horrendous year. And specifically their players. The way Blizzard have treated their players. The way Blizzard have continuously treated their players. One would argue, and one should argue, that Blizzard should now be doing their absolute best. Byteshift, thank you very much for the follow. Really appreciate that. Blizzard should right now be doing their absolute best to win back favor from their players. I don't think that is an understatement whatsoever. So Blizzard, of course, decided in order to win back favor from their players, they will be releasing a brand new store-bought pet. This is actually a pet that changes colors, so it's actually quite a cool pet. If you look at it, it's a very cute pet. It's a nice pet. I think a lot of players would have loved to have some way in the game to get this pet, right? I think a lot of people would have really enjoyed being able to get this pet. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the new bundles that Blizzard have put out for people to sort of buy a bunch of mounts and pets in the store, because that is actually a huge problem as well. But this, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely disgusting. You have not only delivered to your player base one of the worst expansions on record by a mile. One of the worst expansions on record. You've wasted your players' money for about 9 months, and this would actually have been a brilliant chance to say, hey, we know that we wasted your money for 9 months and not told you that we actually don't have anything released, so we're giving you all a pet for free. To say sorry for the fact that, you know, you didn't have content for almost 9 months. And then when you finally did get content in 9.1, it was worth nothing. And then 9.15, we basically just brought a bunch of old stuff back and we still made mistakes there. So we want to apologize. Here's your pay. Blizzard didn't do that. Now, before you think to yourself, Akalon, Blizzard is a business. They really want to make money. You can't fault them for wanting to make money. I would like to point you in the direction of this. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but this is from Yoshi P, the producer of Final Fantasy XIV, and speaking about congestion. The game isn't bad. The game isn't suffering. There's just a lot of queues, like you would expect when it comes to a brand new game that just launched, that has a shit ton of hype around it. People are very excited for the game. There is going to be congestion. Yoshi P did a bunch of things that I can't remember when last we had something like this in World of Warcraft. Yoshi P first and foremost wrote this letter himself. May I remind you that for 9 months with zero content coming from World of Warcraft, Ian Azikostas made nary a fucking peep to the player base. Not Yoshi P though. Holy, this is Naoki Yoshida, producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV. We apologize for the ongoing congestion that has been occurring since early access and the official launch of Endwalker. It's been nearly 2 weeks since the start of the early access and players are still experiencing substantial congestion when logging into the game. As we have new content set to release in upcoming patches, I'd like to provide you with several updates on our plans to address these issues. Additional game time compensation. They have just decided to give players 21 days of free game time. They got 7 days not too long ago, and now they're getting 14 more days of free game time. All this for players not being able to play or not having anything to play, simply because the players are struggling to get into the game. They've decided we're going to give you 3 weeks of game time for free. And we all know, according to at least the Final Fantasy veterans that I've spoken to, if needs be, they'll add even more game time. So if the server queues don't actually sort of get better over the next 2 or 3 weeks, they'll add another 7 days or maybe even another 14 days of free game time for people so that they can actually play the game and actually experience the game. Here's where things get even more interesting. They are suspending, not coming up with a new fucking store, a pet store. No. They are suspending the delivery of all package versions and temporary suspension of digital version sales. They're making it impossible for new players, money, to flow in. Why? Because they don't want to impact their current player base negatively. The people that have already paid for the game, the people that are trying to play, they don't want those players to be stuck in queues all this time. So they're actually stopping all sales. They could easily have said, well, you know, we can't do anything about it. We're so sorry. Here's another store mount. Instead, they say, we'll take the hit. We'll lose the money because people can't actually play the game. Even free trial players are unable to log in outside of late night and early morning hours. And so we will also temporarily suspend new registrations for the free trial. So they're literally giving no new players any access to the game until they can fucking fix it. Until they find a way to fix it. These temporary suspensions will be phased in over the next few days. As we work with our retail partners, we will be coordinating with them as swiftly as possible, but please bear in mind that this will be a gradual process. And Waze, what did you expect? Would you prefer I praise Blizzard Entertainment for their awesome fucking store pet? What would you want me to do? This is not being a simp for Final Fantasy. This is called having any sort of intelligence. I want to ask all of you, when is the last time you saw anything like this from Blizzard? Anything like this, even fucking remotely like this from Blizzard? This is a company, as far as I'm concerned, that actually gives a fuck about their player base. This is a company that really doesn't want to piss off their player base, that really doesn't want to lose the players that they have. They want to keep those players happy. Now, they do go on to say in this post that the upcoming patch schedule isn't going to change, at least not right now. Those patch schedules will remain intact for now, at least. They may change them later if people still find it hard to get into the game. But if you compare that to this, to Blizzard's answer to the shit show that their game have become, I don't think there's any comparison. The fact of the matter is that as far as I'm concerned right now, if you still believe that Blizzard gives any sort of fucks about you as a player, you're a moron. Blizzard doesn't care. They have probably, it's probably been decades since they actually cared. Blizzard wants your money. They don't care about your experience. They don't care if you're having fun in the game. They just want the money. And as long as the money keeps flowing in, they'll keep doing this shit because it's all that matters to them. You have to ask yourself if this is really the kind of shit that you want to support. If you're really one of those people that just keep throwing money at a company like this. I can't make those decisions for you. It's not my place. But I can tell you that I am fucking glad that I'm no longer sub to World of Warcraft. And Blizzard, if any of your developers are watching this, you guys don't deserve my money or anyone else's money. It's disgusting. Again, Echo. They're not two different games, King Julian. They're fucking not. What the fuck are you saying? Apocalypse, very true. Very, very true. How is this comparison in any way different? When I saw this yesterday after receiving 14 days of Final Fantasy, I thought it was a fucking joke. It is a fucking joke. I am comparing the companies. None of this had anything to do with comparing the games. And the only way in which you're correct that Final Fantasy and WoW can't be compared because they're two different games is because Final Fantasy is actually a good game. WoW is a shit game. Matt, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. The fact of the matter is, in this instance, they're absolutely comparable. Absolutely. You have two games, both with a subscription service, both with a store. One game uses the shit show that their game is in to try and sell more pets on their store. The other gives people free shit. Of course you can compare the two. Of course you can compare the two. They're the fucking same. Final Fantasy is definitely a very, very good fucking game. 100% agree. I love Final Fantasy. It's such a fun fucking game. What do I call this video, by the way? Any thoughts on what this video could be called? D-Zach, how you doing, bro? Good morning to you. New WoW pet. Does it shits the bed yet again? I could probably call it that. Are you going back for 9.2 Echo? It's not looking good. But you can admit, Echo, the way they tell the story in WoW and way in Final Fantasy is completely different, hence different games. No, because WoW should be doing more things like Final Fantasy. You can't say because WoW is shit at telling the story, therefore it's a different game. WoW wants to be a narrative-driven video game, yet they shit the bed with their narrative drive. That just means Blizzard is incompetent. It doesn't mean that Blizzard somehow gets a pass. Oh, that's a good one. Evans. Let's say Blizzard finally fixes Blizzard fixes all WoW problems. Finally. Let's do that. And then we'll do it rush main. And we'll quickly upload this to Alex. What the fuck? There we go. That's a good clickbait title. I like that. Just drop it in here. I don't even know if Alex is awake right now. Let's see. Let's see if we can get Alex on the line. Readable on the Lodestone free. There's cancellation survey. Bundle equals Dragonheart expansion. I mean, it is possible. But I am so fucking pissed off with this bullshit. Bro, just the comparison between these two responses to problems leaves a foul taste in my mouth. It really does. It's so horrible being someone who spent so many years playing World of Warcraft and actually defending WoW whenever people would attack it, whenever people would say shit about it. And to now look at this and just be like, what the fuck is going on? Thing I dislike the most in WoW before all the... And again, is the power grind, the Half-Sense Legion. True. Cancelling personal payment or gameplay? Final Fantasy is too much text box. Neo, so... Yes, there's a lot of reading, but it does get much better towards later expansions, I'm told. Like, the later expansions actually removes a lot of the text box with actual voiceovers. So there's more voice acting in the later expansion, so less reading. I've already experienced it in Heavensward, like just up until now, and we're still in the beginning of Heavensward. There's so many fucking voiced cutscenes. So many. Scoop, how you doing, brother? At this point, I think I consider even Swatter better cost and time investment than WoW. I need to give it a try. I'm gonna try it as well as soon as we're done with Final Fantasy, or at such a point in Final Fantasy that I feel this is a natural place to sort of stop for a bit and then swap to Swatter and try that out as well. Sadly, don't like the 14 style. That's fair. Look, I think everyone should like what they like, but at least people should be able to admit this, what Blizzard is doing here, is not on. I think people should at least be able to admit that. This, a pet store, or a store pet, in the middle of one of the worst expansions you've ever had, where players don't have anything to do, and the game is shit, you release a store pet? And none of this. We never got any of this. We should have gotten additional game time during the 9 months that World of Warcraft had fuck all going on. Aureus, it's not so much about how it affects you. It's not about how it affects you. It's about mindset. It's about what is the mindset of the Blizzard developers. And from what I can tell, their mindset is fuck the players. Who cares? Who cares that Shadowlands isn't worth the money that they're spending on it? Who cares that they barely got any content? Our profits are down, so fuck them. Here you go. We need more money. Buy our pet. What is the mindset of Microsoft? What do you mean? I mean, Microsoft has been a company that I've spoken out against for years. Because they have the same mentality. You buy a new Windows and then the Windows is completely broken for the first 6 months while you beta test it. I have the same issues with Windows. The one big difference that I have with Windows is the fact that it's a once-off payment. I'm not paying for it every month. It's a once-off payment, and sadly, there's no one else. Get that manly tight feeling my balls. Corgany, how you doing, brother? A bit my soul that we're gonna get another borrow power system in the next expansion. They did say that we won't. Crashes a lot. Ship product. They have to taste these things somehow. What the fuck? What? There's a reason why there's such a thing in the development cycle as QA. Quality assurance staff exists for a reason. You can test it by actually spending money to get people, like qualified testers, to test your products. Malthrax, thanks for tier 1 sub, did really appreciate the 5 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The mindset of the consumer has also become such a big problem, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, but Scoop, what we're talking about here is a level of broken to the point where it's either unusable, right? And we're talking about small, simple things. There's been times where Windows on a small thing is completely fucking busted. And then people are struggling to make it work. And it's not even a thing that, like, if you wanted to install some obscure video game and it doesn't want to work on Windows, yeah, that's one thing. But if any game that you install just breaks your Windows, that's a problem that QA could have figured out if you actually allowed them the time to test the game. Or test the product. Now with Windows, it becomes much harder because there's things on Windows that you can do that is obviously a little bit obscure and different. But when it comes to video games, let me put it this way. I've gone through a lot of the Final Fantasy forums. I've gone through a lot of the Final Fantasy stuff, the Reddit posts and stuff. I'm yet to find someone that actually complains about game-breaking bugs in Final Fantasy. There's a 2002 error, right, that they now fixed and sort of patched out, and it's working now. Those are things that I would argue can't really be caught by QA. Because it's not actually an error that you're going to get necessarily on the, say, 2 or 3 or 4,000, or it's not even that much. Let's say 200, 300 QA testers. None of them gets that error because it's not an error that everyone gets. It's an error that some people get. And it also happens, as they told us in this post, only if you're in the queue for too long. Which the QA people obviously wouldn't have experienced. Those are bugs that I'm fully happy to accept. And when World of Warcraft launches a new expansion and there's sort of similar small bugs like that, no problem. But I'll tell you what, when BFA first launched, there were dungeons, entire dungeons. One of the main dungeons, like one of the main offenders of this was, what's that manor dungeon called again? In BFA, Waycrest Manor was unplayable, and it remained unplayable for months. Like, not a single fix, not a single hot fix, nothing. For months, if you did the wrong thing in Waycrest Manor, you could pull the whole fucking dungeon. Someone told me the other day they actually had it happen very recently, where their AoE just clipped through the floor, pulled everything at the bottom, and those things pulled everything else in the dungeon. And suddenly you have the whole fucking dungeon on your ass. Toldagor was another one that was just completely busted and took months, if not almost a year, to fix. Those are things that you can absolutely catch with the correct QA testing. And you can't even say in Blizzard's case that it's only QA that should have caught it. Those bugs were present on the PTR already. On the PTR, people were saying, hey, the dungeon is busted. Nothing got done. Nothing got fucking fixed. So at the end of the day, it just shows a level of care that goes into your game. For Blizzard, there's no care in the game. They're just trying to push as many product as possible so they can increase their sales. That's it. Yeah, they well, I don't even know if it's underfunded. They keep firing the QA personnel. I keep coming back to just one constant reminder. The PTR in itself should not exist. It's a completely busted thing to imagine that a game with a story has a built-in function that spoils the story for fucking everyone, right? That shouldn't exist. You should not have that in a story game. But then, to have a game with a PTR, a public test realm where the public is testing your game, be so fucking buggy that it can't be played, at that point you kind of have to ask yourself, well, why are you spoiling the story for everyone? And also, the game isn't fucking ready when it's when it releases. Because then, why are you even, like, remove the PTR? It's shit anyways. No one cares. Final Fantasy 14, they couldn't fix it fast. They'll at least do a post to explain the situation, apologize, and give insight of what are their plans for it. Moonheart, true. This is the post that we just saw here. Him speaking very honestly and openly about the Error 2002, about the upcoming patch schedule, and also about the additional logical data centers that they're building. Being honest. It's taking longer. They can't get the parts together. They apologize. This is what's happening. This is what they're trying. So there's some insights at least. The players aren't left feeling like no one's talking to them and nothing makes sense. Which is actually the thing that fucking pisses me off. Is the fact that so often in Blizzard, we're left wondering, well, what's happening? Because no one's speaking to us. For 9 months, there was no new content and not a single dev made a post to even say why there was no new content. We just had to sort of accept that, hey, fuck it, there's no new content. Way of doubling the amount of releases. They have the PTR launch and the live launch. They treat these as two different things to the players. There's a lot of things that you sort of... I don't know how much. The one question that I would have is... Vanipier, thanks for the Prime sub, dude. Really appreciate that. 3 months in a row, you degenerate fuck. How you doing, brother? The one question that I would have is this due to SE being Japanese, at least the portion that makes Final Fantasy 14? So there's a cultural difference? Because I do know for a fact that, culturally speaking, Japanese companies have a very high sort of... They place a lot of importance on the view of their consumer to the company. Very important that the company is viewed in a very positive light by the consumer. Compare that to Western companies like Blizzard, who couldn't give two fucks how the consumer sees them. Or is it down to developers just not giving a shit? Who's to blame for this? Is it the suits or the developers? I've been looking WoW from afar for years since some friend of mine played it, but did Blizzard even once apologize when they messed up? When I look at their interviews, they look like they think they never do anything wrong. Sadly, that is mostly the case, yes. Blizzard believes everyone else is to blame, not them. Expansion Go 2 didn't do much for popularity of it. I don't expect much from the upcoming overhaul of 14 PvP. But also don't care about PvP or play Final Fantasy 14 for PvP. major ego before FF 1.0, where SE was like disappointed with Tomb Raider sale numbers and such. Then 14 1.0 happened and SE almost went under. They took a huge ego punch. Sometimes that's what you need, right? Sometimes that is what you need, and that's what I'm hoping for with this current thing that Blizzard is going through. Is for that gut punch to happen, and for Blizzard to realize, whoa, we really have to start fixing shit. We really have to start doing better. I'm just amazed Blizzard hasn't offered a single apology. Like, it amazes me. Matsuni, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. I don't know how, after all this time, we still don't have an apology. Jury Cover, I will probably be pre-ordering the expansion. But just because I'll be making a video telling people whether or not they should play it. But if I was just a normal consumer, if I was just a normal gamer, I would not pre-order the next expansion. COVID, no. It's on my list of things that I want to watch. Evans, true. I don't think Blizzard will bounce back. You have to consider WoW is one of their games. Most games they have launched have been bad lately. They have more than enough money to bounce back. They just have to want to bounce back. If Blizzard actually offered us an apology, I would forgive them immediately. So let me put it this way. If Blizzard came out tomorrow, right, with a heartfelt letter or video from Ian Hazzikostas saying straight up, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we did wrong. This is what we were hoping for. This is what went wrong. Here is where we made a mistake. Here is what we thought would happen, and versus this is what actually happened. And to be clear, the one time that Blizzard kind of offered us an apology was when they, in the very next line, if you guys remember, there was these blue posts that Blizzard did before 915, right? Right after the lawsuit hit, Blizzard put out these blue posts. In that very same blue post, where Blizzard basically apologizes for the stuff that they did, it turns around and sort of goes, but, you know, really, this was just a difference of opinion. So, you know, how could we have known? Very specifically, they were talking about the conduit energy. And they're like, well, we couldn't have known that that is how it's going to work out. And it's like, no, you could have. The fact that myself and every other YouTuber saw that this is how it's going to fucking work out, how could you not see it? Are you not playing your own game? Because if you've ever spent any time playing World of Warcraft, you would have immediately looked at that system and said, yeah, that's not going to work. That's not working. Whatever you want to solve with this, it's going to create more problems than what it's going to solve. That is the issue, right? Everyone actually did see, Zach, like not even content creators, even players looked at conduit energy and said, this isn't working. This isn't going to work. But anyways, if Blizzard came out tomorrow and they sincerely apologized for what they did to the player base, I'm not talking about what they did to their workers. There's a whole different discussion that needs to go into how you apologize to your workers, because those people deserve a lot more than what they're getting at the moment from the Blizzard fucking suits. But if Ian came out and he acknowledged and also accepted responsibility for the state of Shadowlands, stop blaming COVID for bullshit. Here we are. Every other gaming company is releasing their games. Some of them, sure. Some of them have to postpone the games to get it into the good state because of what COVID did to it. But we're done now. You've had literally years now to figure out how to work from home. Well, not literally years. You've had a year, and I'm being very, very conservative here. You actually had a year and a half to figure out how to work from home, how to make sure that you can sort this shit out. And you didn't do it. You still keep blaming COVID. You still keep blaming the circumstances that you find yourself in. Fuck off with that. We no longer care about that. We all find ourselves in the exact same circumstances, and guess what? Not a single one of us, normal folk, get to blame COVID for our fuck-ups. If one of the people in this chat or the people watching this video later, by the way, hit the like button if you are watching this on YouTube later, if it makes it to YouTube, I don't know. But if one of you went to your boss and said, oh, I didn't do my project because of COVID, you think your boss would go, oh yeah, that makes sense? No. Your boss would be like, fuck off. This needs to be done now. So you will work overtime and you'll get it done because it needs to be done. We don't get to blame COVID for not being able to do shit. We all had to adapt. We all had to figure out how to get the world spinning again, working from home. There's no more surprises there. There's no more issues there. Stop blaming COVID for your bullshit. I want Ian to step up and say, I'm sorry. I apologize for the shit that we made. I apologize for the state of Shadowlands. And ultimately, I also apologize very deeply for making the players wait 9 months with no new content whatsoever. And not a peep from us. Not a peep from us. Not even a post to say, hey guys, there's not going to be any new content for the next 9 months. Just nothing. They just kept quiet. And now we're how far into this bullshit? Kyle, by the way, thank you so much for the ones up. Did really appreciate that. 24 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 2 years, motherfucker. Really appreciate that. I'll get to your post in a minute. Instead, they do things like this. Store mounts. Where's our month of free content? Final Fantasy doesn't have the money that World of Warcraft has. Final Fantasy doesn't have this budget. Where's the player's additional game time for 9 months of no new fucking content? We paid $15 a month for what? Nothing new and nothing from you guys. Nothing from you, Ian. You were silent on the matter. Someone needs to step up. But let's imagine that they did step up. I would forgive them instantly. Because that's all I've actually been asking for. That's all I've been asking for. Is for them to be honest. And say, I'm sorry. This is why I'm sorry. It's on us. We made a mistake. We'll fix it. You want to know why I'll forgive them before people go, oh my god, he'll go back to shilling for the company? No. But I would forgive them. You want to know why? Because if Blizzard actually apologized, it means that they've learned their lesson. That would tell me that Blizzard learned their lesson. They have recognized what their mistakes were, what their faults were, and how to make it better. The issue is that they still haven't learned. Like I said, the last apology we ever got from them was one that basically shifted the blame. You know, yeah, sure, things went wrong, but really, you know, not really our fault. It was him that did it. I'm so over this, dude. I'm so over this. And the sad part is, there's still going to be fucking assholes that defend Blizzard. There's still going to be people who find a reason to defend Blizzard. Who finds a reason to make excuses for this company. Not realizing that you're the reason the fucking state of the game is the state of the game. Because you keep gobbling up shit. You should stand up and say no more. I'm not happy with this. I will not stand for this. And then watch how quickly they change. And if you guess or think it's going to take too long, look how fast 9.1 came out with all of the things that they were going to add. You want to know why it went so fast? Because people were unsubbing in droves. And the second Ian and his suit buddies realized, shit, we're losing money. they immediately turned that little ship around. Instantly went, oh, okay, never mind. We need to give players something to do. So that is how I forgive Blizzard. I want an apology. Not to me, to the player base. The actual people that matter. They deserve that. And until Ian and his ilk realize that their players aren't expendable, they're not just tools and not just wallets. Because that's genuinely what I think, by the way. I think when Ian sees a player in World of Warcraft, he just sees a dollar sign. Until they realize that their players aren't just dollar signs, I don't think things are getting better. Not now, not ever. What do you guys think? What I don't get is why. Why will Blizzard not admit that the state of World of Warcraft is bad? Do they somehow think that that's gonna hurt them? Because in my opinion, truthful, honest apologies, like heartfelt apologies, never hurt. Never. It is never a bad thing to apologize truthfully and honestly. Bayek, thanks so much for hanging out. Did really appreciate it. Take care of yourself, brother. If you do something wrong, the best thing you can do is, if it's the wrong thing and you genuinely did something wrong, the best thing you can do is to just go, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then do better. But I don't even think investors would have a problem with it. Ghost of, I'm aware that it's a company policy. I'm genuinely questioning the policy. I'm saying the policy is bullshit. I'm asking, why is that policy in place when that policy makes no sense? I actually think apologies are a sign of strength. It takes a lot. And I've only ever had to really apologize a few times in my life. I don't make that many mistakes. I don't really get in contact with enough people. But there's been times where I've genuinely fucked up. And then you have to apologize. It's fucking hard to apologize, dude. It's hard. No one wants to do it. You feel stupid. You feel humiliated. So I would actually say the biggest sign of strength is the apology, is to sit there and be vulnerable and say, I'm sorry. I fucked up. I shouldn't have fucked up. I'm sorry. Ablody, how you doing, brother? The 48 Laws of Power. In any other company, Ian would be fired by this point. He is such a failure at his job. Truth. Fucking truth. Absolutely agree with you. I want to shift the conversation, though, to something that's far more interesting. Chat. How many of you are for or against NFTs in video games? Let's talk about something that's a little bit more interesting. How many of you are for or against NFTs in video games? Alright, am I gonna have to fucking describe this now? Okay. An NFT is a non-fungible token. It's how do I describe this best for everyone? Okay, so what an NFT is, imagine you're playing World of Warcraft, right? And you get a piece of armor. Now, what an NFT would be, if that piece of armor was an NFT, then that piece of armor would be completely and utterly unique. In other words, there's only one of that piece of armor, and you own that piece of armor. Now, with most of the NFT games out there, you can then go on the marketplace and sell your piece of armor to someone else. Does that make sense? So you could take your, let's say Invincible was an NFT. So there's only one Invincible in the entire game. Now, an Invincible dropped for you. You could then sell that Invincible NFT to another player for X amount of money, right? That's an NFT. It's effectively ownership, is what it is. It guarantees ownership. Now, there are many games currently that have NFTs. These are called NFT games, right? And they have various ways of dealing with their NFTs. The vast majority of video games, though, in the case of World of Warcraft, with the Invincible example that we just used, what it would have is, say, an Invincible normal, so a normal white item Invincible, then they'd have blue, purple, and orange, right? So those would be, and then you'd make even more variables of it, with like the highest one being the best one that you can. So actually, I could have done this so much easier. I wasted so much time. Think of NFTs as Pokemon cards, only digital Pokemon cards. That's effectively what they are. They're just collectibles, right? It's collector's edition stuff that you can use. Now, NFTs is part of a market that I very much love. It's the crypto industry. It's the crypto ecosystem. NFTs were born from within the crypto ecosystem. Now, Phil Spencer, in this article, says that Xbox does not want exploitative NFTs. The sad part is that the vast majority of NFT gaming out there is extremely exploitative. They exploit the player all the time. I asked all of you at the beginning, how do you feel about NFTs? And I would say from my own chat, the vast majority of you do not like NFTs whatsoever. I fall on the other side of this. I believe that NFT gaming is the future. I believe that we are going to be in a future where almost all games will have NFTs within it. Because one of the sort of nice things about NFT gaming is you can make money whilst playing. So suddenly, there's actually people who play NFT games and make about $100 a day playing NFT games. So you can actually make some decent, good money on the NFT markets if you really want to. I think the biggest problem with NFTs today is that the vast majority of games that carry NFTs aren't actually games. They're, how do you put it? They're shit. The only reason people play them is for the NFTs. I do believe that eventually there's going to be a very good game that launches with actual good NFTs, but also a very good game surrounded by these NFTs. And I think that is where most people's minds around NFTs will start to change. Now, I do quickly wanted to, I didn't want to go through this article. It was just interesting to me that even Phil Spencer, a man that actually does care about gaming quite a lot, even he has these issues with NFT, the NFT blockchain technology. I mean, the blockchain technology in and of itself is incredible. And it's probably going to lead to a lot of good things. The problem right now, as with almost all markets that just start off, Mox's TV, thanks for the follow, really appreciate that. The problem with all new markets is that it usually starts off as just being a money-making scheme. Everyone's sort of jumping on this because it's the next big money-making scheme. But I do think as this model matures and as we get more people, more developers into the NFT market, I can absolutely see people falling in love with NFTs and NFT gaming specifically. Especially when you start allowing people to, say, craft their own weird and wonderful NFTs and make their own creations that they can then sell on a marketplace. It just makes things a little bit more interesting, right? Just watched your video on Final Fantasy XIV. Loved your point of view. Briscoe, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream, dude. I'm interested in why so many of you in chat dislike NFT video games. Like, why do you dislike NFT? There's no difference between Steam Market. The only difference is the real money component, I suppose. As you get, there's no difference between that and real money or real money trading. No, it's the same. It's basically literally the same thing. The only difference is this is crypto and it happens on the NFT blockchain versus through banking. Or yes, you're right. It does make games pay to win. But at the same time, everyone does sort of have an equal footing in that it's available to everyone. Correct? NFT is only a matter of speculation. You don't need NFT if the item is unique or don't care about reselling. Speculation in a video game is a scourge. Maybe, Moonhot, but also, like I said, we should look to the future. So my question is more, what does the future of things look like? Grohl, I would actually disagree with you the most there. NFT is just an elaborate pyramid scheme. Because basically what you're then saying is Pokemon cards is also an elaborate pyramid scheme. Technically, I could change. You could try, but when it comes to blockchain technology, you'd have a very, very hard time doing it. Is it really available to everyone, though? If there are only a certain number of NFTs and some people don't have hundreds of thousands to spend on the game. Remember, Mama Mayhem, you can build yourself up to having hundreds of millions of dollars to spend on the game. That's the good thing about NFT gaming. You can make money off of your NFTs and also just playing the game. I wouldn't mind if I can safely sell in-game items to pay my bills. That is what most people do with NFT gaming. Like I said, there are people who play NFT games and make $100 a day. Legit. People who play NFT video games that make $100 a day. Easy. There's even people who don't even play and make shit tons of money. Because they use the money that they made from playing the game to ultimately become stakeholders in the game. So they just sort of... A good example of this would be Moblox. Like Moblox is a good example of a game that you can buy hash power and then eventually you just make money by doing nothing, right? You have another game that's also an NFT game called... fuck, I'm trying to remember the name now. Alien Worlds, where you get a world and then you build anything on it. You take your world and you build something on it. You can build a theme park, you can build a scare park, whatever the fuck you want. And then you make money as people visit your world and play in your world. Economical stability centered, but too much to explain in a Twitch chat. Economical stability. Are you talking about the world economy not being able to handle it? SVK, not really, because how would you say this is similar to mortgages in 2008? Mama, that's the risk that you take. That's why I love crypto. There's no one that controls it. See, I believe, and this might be my own hope, but I believe that crypto is going to bring down the world economy. And I hope that it does. Actually, I should say, the world economy is going down. There's nothing we can do about it. The economy is going to crash. And I believe that the crypto industry is going to take over and it's going to become the new money system of the world. Because it's not moderated, it's not regulated, there's no government bullshit tied to it. It's the market. How much do you have? How much am I willing to pay for it? That sets the price. Just printing money out of nothing. Germany tried that. Apocalypse, that's not entirely true. Because you're not essentially printing money out of nothing. That there is an inherent value to the thing. Also, what you're saying basically is you don't like how the current money system is working. So the crypto system shouldn't work that way. Because nothing you said there is different to the current banking system. You think your pounds are linked to any sort of thing of value? The economy doesn't crash, but crypto exists in parallel to fiat money. Fiat money can't not crash. It's not something positive when you talk about the fundamental of a system that allow people to live. Not regulated is always a positive thing. You are literally in a stream with an anarchist. If the government ceased to exist tomorrow, I would be throwing a party tomorrow night. Genuine. I would be throwing a fucking party tomorrow night for the whole world to attend. I would be dancing on the graves of the government. More than one anarchist? True. My chat is actually filled with anarchists. I have quite a few anarchists in my chat. I have people from all walks of life, but most people know I would love to see the system burn. So not regulated it's like the Messiah's words. Money is nothing but numbers on a screen now, and that is what has led to the shit show we are in now? Not really. The money just being numbers on the screen isn't what led to the shit show that we have right now. Probably someone will enter your party and shoot you with a gun because you prevent them to sleep and there is no regulation anymore. I have guns too. Why do people not enter your house right now and shoot you when you have a party? There's not a single criticism that you can lodge against anarchism that isn't true right now. The current system is a fucking joke. It's a lie that most people buy into. Most people think that government keep you safe. They don't. You have to think about this. You realize that your money loses value literally daily. By design, it doesn't have to. There's no rule that states that your $100 today must be worth less next year. They do it to keep themselves rich, to keep you working. Because the same $100 that you got this year isn't going to buy the same shit next year. So you have to keep working. You have to keep going in the in the little mouse trap. You're just running in the mouse wheel. You don't even realize that the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer because of you. Because you keep voting for politicians that make their friends rich. Apocalypse, that's not true. You can go back in history. The first ever time money was done, like, we knew that money was going to die with the invention of the central banking system. Central banks are the biggest evil in the world, hands down, no questions asked. There isn't a bigger evil in the world than central banking. Every problem that you have in the world today can be solved with the removal of the central banking system. Every single problem. It's supposed to be the collaboration of the people to accomplish tasks and projects that are too big for an individual or small group of individuals to handle. The problem is, the bigger the project, the more complicated it gets. Apocalypse is literally, this is not even a fucking, like, this is not even a guess. It's true. Central banking is the biggest problem in the world, hands down. These are the people that set your interest rates. These are the people who decide how much money you can print and how. These are the people that decided to remove money from the gold system. Why? Because a gold-backed system limits the amount of money that they can print, limits the amount of money that they can spend. And then they decided to sort of, for some fucking stupid reason, link all money in the world to the dollar. And the dollar, the Fed decided to print money like it's going out of fucking business. How is it not the central bank's fault? I don't see how it's not the central bank's fault. Only based on the behavior of your neighbors. Sure look messed up from where I live. I mean, the governments around the world are shit. The American government is the shittest. But there's no good government. Rhetorican, I believe that tax is theft. So I don't think people should. I think all taxes should be optional. If you want to pay tax for something, then sure, pay taxes. But if you don't want to pay taxes, you shouldn't be. No one should be able to force you to pay taxes. Yeah, but Apocalypse, your argument starts at the wrong thing. I didn't prove shit. Your argument started at the wrong place. Because you're blaming money not being tied to anything for the biggest problem in the world. That's not the problem. Money being tied to nothing is not the problem. The problem is central banking. And you could have money be tied to nothing and still have the system work fine. The system worked for this fucking long. Fine. The problem is, as soon as you have money that's tied to nothing, and then central banks that print money as if it's going out of fucking, out of season, the money printer goes brrr the whole fucking day. That's where the problem comes in. The problem isn't that money isn't linked to anything, because the inherent value of money is whatever the fuck we think it is. If I see something and I think that thing is worth $5, then inherently it's worth $5. Doesn't matter what that money is tied to. I'm willing to pay $5 for that thing, so I will buy that thing for $5 fucking dollars. If the thing is $10 and I only think that thing is worth $5, I'm not buying it because it's too fucking expensive. The value of money can very easily be determined by the minds of the people that want to buy the shit. That's literally what crypto is. The inherent value of all cryptocurrencies are based on two factors. Factor number one is the underlying technology that it serves. So if you take ADA, for example, from Cardano, the value of ADA and Cardano is based on the technology that is built to support the cryptocurrency. And then in turn, the cryptocurrency supports the technology and all the things that that technology can do for the people of this world, right? That's where its value comes from. And based on what I'm willing to pay for an ADA. So how much in my own mind do I think ADA is worth? ADA just took a massive fucking dive. Why? Because it was overpriced. The market saw the price of ADA and said, no, that's too high. Right now, ADA can't really do much. I don't think that's fair. I'm going to bring it lower. The problem with money is you can't fucking do that. You can't do that with money. Because you have the central bank that decides what your money is actually worth. That's it. But ADA took the dive long before the actual market started diving. It's true, the market is bear right now. But ADA actually started trending down quite a while before the bear market set in. So ADA's specific value is tied to a number of problems. Actually, their biggest problem was, I can't remember what cryptocurrency it was, but there's a cryptocurrency that was just banned by Coinbase in the US. And that cryptocurrency really fucking knocked ADA. So that's where ADA's massive swan dive came from. I still believe that it's going to pick up, but, you know, you never know. No, it wasn't XRP. XRP has been a problem for a while, right? XRP has been a problem for a while now. Central banks are going to take control of crypto with CBDCs. I don't think they will. I think they'll find it very hard. Also, they'll be stupid if they try to. Munot, but you're making a pretty huge fallacy there. The reason most cryptocurrencies currently are up and down, up and down, up and down, and changes value within seconds is because it's brand new. Because it doesn't have widespread adoption. That's not going to be true always. That isn't going to be true always. The fact of the matter is, with all new technologies, things usually is very tumultuous for a time. Doesn't mean it's going to be tumultuous forever. There will eventually be a lot of stability within the market. And if you don't believe me, you can literally look at the very first time that the stock exchange was invented. Stocks went through the roof and then fell to the floor within minutes. Up and down, 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 up and down. Just fucking knocking about. Over time, people sort of started to find a generalized value of what the market was willing to pay for certain things based on the value of the thing that they're purchasing into. And you don't need centralization, Apocalypse, for that. You don't need centralization for that. Crypto is easily manipulated. When someone like Elon Musk can turn a meme crypto into an investment with a few tweets, shows that. Bentley, and yet there's more times when he tweet things that nothing happens to Dogecoin. I'm a huge follower of crypto coins. I can tell you right now, the vast majority of the times that Elon Musk tweets things about Doge, nothing happens to the Doge price whatsoever. It stays silent. Every once in a while, he gets like, you know, crazy ups and crazy downs, but that's rare. The vast majority of his tweets leads to nothing in the market. Anarchy works. I think they take the human element out of it. No government would be chaos. We don't take the human element out of it. Why would no government be chaos? Why? What would make it chaotic? Name one thing that the government does that a normal company couldn't do. You seem to think that now that there's no government, I'm just gonna be helpless inside my home for any criminal to fucking come and loot. You say there would be nothing to stop shit? Bullshit. Bullshit, there would be nothing to stop humans from doing things. I would be there to stop humans from doing things. I'd get a company to stop humans from doing things. If I want my house safe, I'll phone a security company and be like, hey, I want my house safe. Sane people. Police my streets. I don't need the government for that. Why would I want? So here's my question to you, Jumbo. Why would I want a government, a police force that can't be sued, that can't be held responsible for the shit that they do, over a company that I can actually fucking sue if they don't do their job? Why would I want that? That makes no sense to me. I'd rather the company that if they don't do their job, I sue them. So if someone breaks into my house and steals my shit, I sue the company and go, what the fuck? I paid you to keep my house safe and someone broke into my fucking house. How would you sue them without a government? Do you think courts can only exist because of the government? What makes you think that? So, in other words, judges will not be judges if there would be no lawyers without a government. In what fucking universe? In what universe? You guys seem to think that the government saves you from what? I can almost guarantee you, under an anarchist system, the courts would be far fairer, far cheaper, and far better. Far better. Never make the mistake of judging a future system based on only your knowledge of today. Just because something right now belongs to the government doesn't mean that it's only the government that can do it. That's not actually true. Apocalypse, if what you said was true, it would happen right now. And also, the government owns you right now because they have the biggest guns. So what you're saying is you're okay with the government owning you because they have the big guns. You don't want to have your own guns so that they can't own you? The fuck? Let me put it to you this way. If you don't think that it is completely immoral and corrupt to have an entity that has a complete and utter monopoly on violence, and the only entity in the world that can legally initiate violence against you, also be the entity that can tax you and make rules on how you need to live your life, then you and I will never agree on anything. Because that is completely... You want to know what's the difference between the government and the thief that mugs you? When you get mugged in the street, you want to know what's the difference between the government and that thief? You can't sue the government. You can't sue the government for stealing your shit. But it's exactly the same. No, and that's also true. At least the thief has the balls to tell you, stick up your hands, this is a mugging. The government doesn't even give you that fucking courtesy. Scoop, you can totally sue the government. Go, do it. Let's see how it goes. Take the government to court right now. Tell the judge the government took my tax dollars and they didn't do what they said they were going to do. Let's see how it goes for you. It would be fucking hilarious. I mean, I don't think you're gonna get very far. I do think you're probably not gonna get anywhere. If it even gets onto the court roll. Don't think it's gonna. Well, good luck, you know? We'll see. Nothing's gonna happen. Courts will work in the world without a government. Cyber Eugene, people seem to forget that just because there's no government, right, doesn't inherently mean that people will just then suddenly stop taking care of themselves. I'll admit, is anarchy going to solve the world's problems? No, no one ever said it would. But anarchy will be far better than the current system that we have. Because democracy is nothing more than the ability to vote for your dictator. That's it. That's the only difference between dictatorships and democracy is you get some say in who your dictator will be for the next 4 years. You don't really get anything else, but you get to pretend that you're free and, you know, oh, I chose this guy to dictate my life for the next 4 years. I feel so free. The difference between anarchy and any other system is that anarchy says that you have to take responsibility for your life. You don't get to pass responsibility off to the government. So you go to the people in your neighborhood and you say, right, guys, there's a couple of things we have to sort the fuck out because there's no government to fix the shit for us. We have to sort the shit out. So we need to get a private security firm to actually set officers on the streets to make sure that the streets are safe for our children to play in, for us to play in. We'll go look for quotes and stuff from the different private security companies to make sure that that the streets are safe. We need to find a way to get rubbish to be removed. We'll set up a fund for that. Everyone can pay in. If you don't want to pay in, no problem. But then we don't remove your rubbish, right? That's all you need. Okay, so just to be clear, anarchy does not work on a world scale. It never pretended to be, and I never said that it would. Anarchy will always be small. It has to be small. That's the whole point of anarchists. It's about decentralization. That's literally what we say when we say anarchy. Anarchy simply says decentralization. We want the power removed from the government and put in as few people's hands as humanly possible on the smallest possible scale. That is anarchy. It's nothing to do with chaos. It's nothing to do with no rules whatsoever. The political system known as anarchy, and it's kind of sad that they chose that name for that political movement because most people think anarchy and they think no rules. They think Mad Max, which literally isn't what it is. It's to say that, look, me and my community know what we need, right? Better than any government could ever fucking know what we need. We know what we need. So allow us to actually fucking go get what we need. without paying stupid amounts of taxes to a government that does fuck all with those taxes other than waste it. Because that's all the government does. They literally just waste shit. Government ends tomorrow. That would be anarchy. Jumbo. No. There would be some places that would fall into complete and utter chaos. But there would be a lot of places that would be just fine within a week. Because they would realize, hey, we have to fix shit. We have to make sure that shit works. Let's go. So many people make there's too many people that suckle at the teat of government that just believes that if the government were no more, then they would be lost, not realizing that the vast majority of your fucking problems comes from the government existing in the first place. To give you guys a very good example, you do realize that the founding fathers of America were anarchists, right? You realize that. If you've ever read the Bill of Rights or the Constitution of America, they were anarchists. Every single one of them. The system of America, literally the setup of America, was an anarchist system. It's what it was meant to be. The federal government has almost zero power. The states have all the power. Why? Because if you're unhappy with the state that you live in, you can fucking leave. The problem is that when the federal government controls everything, there's no way to go. You're stuck. Because no matter where you go in the US, you're still under the federal government. So you still have to do what they say. Too large for anarchy to spark up and work? You'd be surprised. All it takes is for them to run out of money and they're fucking going. The Grey, you seem to believe that no form of government is anarchy, which it isn't. So the fundamental tenet, as far as I'm concerned, for anarchy is voluntary association, right? So in other words, no one can force me to associate with anyone I don't wish to associate with. Which means that if you wanted to live in an anarchist system and if you wanted to live in a communist system, under an anarchist system, you could absolutely live in a communist system. The only difference would be that you cannot force your communism on me. If I don't want to live in your fucking communist town, I take my shit and I leave. Simple as that. I just go to another town that doesn't have your shit. If you wanted to live in a democracy, you go to a town that has democracy. If you wanted to live in a town that has zero government and basically everyone volunteers to do everything, then you go live in a town where everyone volunteers and there is zero government. Anarchy is not a political system. It is a relationship. Which is what most people don't seem to get. People seem to struggle with the idea of anarchy. Because people still think in terms of government when they think of anarchy, which it isn't. That's not what anarchy is. Anarchy is the idea that no one can tell anyone else what they can or can't do without them choosing to be told what to do. So if you want to run naked in the fucking streets and you don't like the fact that the neighborhood doesn't want you running in the streets, then you go live on your own so that you can run around your property naked. Because in our town, we have a rule. No one must be naked outside. And if you want to live in our town, you have to abide by our rules. Because we all decided this is how we want to live. It's a relationship. You can't force me, but if I want to do it, then I can do it. No problem. Video, it's not an idealized... Oh my Jesus. I literally explained to you what anarchy is, and you go, oh my god, that's such an idealized version of anarchy. How do you know? Name the anarchist country, please. I'll wait. Name it. Let's go. Name the anarchist country that you're referring to here that proves that this is an idealized version. I'll wait. The United States of America, when it was first founded as an anarchist system, had the fastest growing economy in the world, faster than any of the other established countries. It overtook the other countries in less than 100 years as being the #1 country to be in because of an anarchist system that worked exactly the way that I just fucking described systems work. And you're saying, no, fuck you. That's an idealized version of it. All right, cool. You're wrong, by the way. But I'm not interested in arguing. So I'll go so far as to say this. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. I don't want to share a country with you. Can we agree on that? You don't have to agree with me, but please, for the love of fuck, I don't want to share a country with you. That's it. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not here to convince you. But stop trying to make rules that influence my life. That's all I'm asking for. Because that's what I'm sick and tired of. The rest of you go to vote and I get fucking forced to live by your rules. It drives me fucking nuts. I don't vote because I don't want this fucking system, and yet I'm forced to pay taxes for bullshit I don't believe in. I'm forced to abide by laws that is so stupid they make no sense. Drug laws, for example. Why the fuck do they exist? No one knows, but they're there and you keep fucking voting for it. Why? Because for some reason you decided that you're the majority, therefore you get to be the dictators of my life. That's not fair. It's not fair. And the fact that so many people seem to think it's fair is astounding to me. Just because you have the numbers on your side, you get to beat me over the head with a fucking club? Why? What makes you any better than the fucking killers and dictators of history? You're no better. You're no different. You're just as fucking evil as they were. The only difference is you pretend you're not. You pretend, oh my god, no, we have a free voting system. So clearly we're not. Well, in my eyes, you're fucking tyrants. It's what you are. You're the enemy. American federal government on a day-to-day basis, the only time my personal life has been affected by a president has actually been Biden and his witch hunt on unvaccinated people. And you don't seem to think that's a problem, Jumbo. The fact that the government has the power to do that. It's insane to me that people look at democracies and not realize that they are the most immoral systems in the world. The most immoral systems in the world. Fighting my own fight against the vaccines. I don't want to talk about the vaccines. I don't want to talk about COVID. I don't care. Everyone does what they want to do. That's nothing to do with me. I personally don't understand the issue with getting the COVID shots. I've gotten my 3rd shot just the other day. Great. No, because again, Nairbear, what kind of relationship do you guys think we have here right now? What relationship are we in right now? Mighty Randon, how you doing, bro? Is this communist? Is this democracy? What relationship is this? This is an anarchist relationship. It's an anarchist relationship. I didn't force a single one of you to be here. None of you forced me to be here. That's anarchy. I am here because I want to be here. You are here because you want to be here. I'm assuming. If you want to leave, you leave. I have rules because this is my place. This is my house. So I have rules. If you play by the rules, you get to play along. If you don't play by the rules, if you stop playing by the rules, I kick you the fuck out. I ban you. You said It's cool, bro. I accept your rules. I said, come in. This is anarchy. This is literally anarchy. Because no one's forcing you to be here. No one's asking you to be here. No one can make you stay here. And if you write something in chat here that is whatever, I'm not going to phone the authorities on you. I'm not going to report you to the fucking police. I'm just going to ban you because you didn't play by my rules. Right? And you knew the rules when you came in. Because it's my place. That's anarchy. Literally simple as that. Not Liam, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't accept your rules. Fuck off or I kill you. I ban him. It's simple as that. Because this is my house, my rules. Your literal house is an anarchist system. When you invite your friends over, your friends literally come into your house based on an anarchist relationship. Video, hey, come on in. Let's see who has the bigger guns. You're assuming a whole lot of crap, Video, that you have no evidence of. You're assuming a whole lot of crap. Told my kids, this is no democracy. Well, yeah, but that's a relationship with your kids, right? With your kids, you have a different relationship because kids tend to need sort of a stronger, shall we say, boundary until such time that they can actually think for themselves and actually make informed, rational decisions. So if there's much about your political stance when discussing survival and freedom, you think about Pelagos becoming the arbiter? BDO, the argument as far as I'm concerned is if everyone have big guns, no one's going to shoot it. Simple as that. If you knew that there was a reasonable expectation that you could fucking die if you come into my house without being invited, you'd probably not come in my house. Because you'd be like, oh, this could be a dangerous one to go into. But if you didn't have a gun, and I had a gun, I'd come in, because I'm winning. This is my fight. Right? It's mine to lose. Munard, I literally just told you that. I literally just told you that, Munard. Imagine the US was an anarchist system tomorrow, right? Hello, Feed. Thank you very much for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Imagine the US was an anarchist system. You could very easily have a place like Los Angeles be completely communist, right? They elected their own government because the people of Los Angeles said, we want a government. And the people of Texas would not have the right to tell the people of California that they can't have a government. The people of California said, we want a fucking government. It's what we want. So the people of Texas can say, we don't want a government. We want to live free. So everyone who doesn't want to live in Texas and doesn't want to be free, they move and they go to California, right? And the people who want freedom come from California to Texas and they live free. The system sorts itself out. It's going to happen no matter what you do. There's gonna be, humans are by and large order bringing entities regardless. They bring order. And so no matter what the system is, there's going to be a way for them to find order within that system. Be it through private companies, be it through levies, be it through government, like you could have. There's always going to be some way for human beings to find some measure of order. And the only difference between the current democratic system and anarchy is one that says, listen here, If you don't want to live in a specific way, and it doesn't matter what that way is, you don't have to. You can leave. And no one can make you stay. No one can tell you, no, you don't go. You can leave. If that's what you want to do, then you can leave. It's not a problem. Does it take women to abuse and idiots to kill for fun? Yes, human nature. I think a lot of people underestimate just how I'll give you guys an example. There's communities in South Africa, farming communities, that have no electricity, no running water, no real police force, nothing. They're very far out from any sort of town, so they're not close to anything. So there's almost nothing there. You want to know what those communities have done for themselves? They've set up their own electricity. They've set up their own water supplies. They've set up their own, what you'd call, community policing. They did it all by themselves. No police, no government. The government doesn't go there. It's too far out. It's too removed, too remote. They did it themselves. These communities thrive. They do really fucking well. They're extremely peaceful. They don't need the government. Because, by and large, human beings aren't assholes. By and large, the vast majority of human beings don't wish to fucking destroy other people's lives. The vast majority of human beings just want to live. And for some reason, so many people seem to believe that all human beings are fucking horrid, miserable human beings. And that's not true. It simply isn't true. I can tell you right now, if you remove drug charges as a criminal offense, US prisons would be probably near empty. It's a very small percentage of the human population that actually wants to fucking kill people and that actually wants to do bad shit. And more often than not, and this is actually something that could be looked into, but based on the numbers that I've seen, the vast majority of hardened criminals become hardened criminals after they've been incarcerated for something like fucking marijuana possession. You get caught with marijuana, you get sent to prison, and there you turn into a hardened criminal that can't exist on the outside. So you remove that shit, and you immediately have a better system on your hands. It won't be removed because the government doesn't have any interest in doing so. Texas is concerned with Texas, not other states. Also, the whole point, I saw someone earlier saying that, Gorgie, how you doing, bro? Someone earlier said that Texas would invade other states. How? The only time we have any sort of invasion is when governments invade other fucking countries. If you left it to the American public, if you had no government, do you think the American public would be in Iraq? Or in Afghanistan? Do you think they would be there? Considering that 80% of Americans don't even know where the fuck Iraq is on a map. Why would they be there? They wouldn't. The only time people invade other people is when there's a government that wants to gain something, and then they invade. Everything I saw of human nature in my life, I cannot imagine any outcome out of that chaotic violence. The thing is, I don't think there would be chaotic violence. Now, I don't necessarily care to discuss this any deeper, because at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think it's fair. To be clear, I hear video, and I know that you have strong opinions on this video, and I don't necessarily think our debate here is fair. Because our debate gives me a mic and you just the ability to type. which isn't fair. This is my opinion. You can agree with it, you can disagree with it, I don't care. As I said from the beginning, all I don't like is the fact that I never even signed up for this bullshit, and yet I'm forced to live under the rules that isn't made for me or by me or that I even agree with. Jumbo, they'd find it very hard to be a warmongering collective, considering the fact that they would need to go up against almost all of the other smaller communities that would probably be like, fuck off. Enoch, what do you mean? The criminal system goes against its original value of no cruel or unusual punishment. It throws people in concrete boxes and treats them like animals. The Grey, I agree with you. But again, government to be blamed for that one. Fear of consequences. Some of them will start to... I don't think that's true, Munot. I don't believe that's true at all. I don't think that's true at all. I think the vast majority of people do nice things simply because they want to be nice and they want to be liked by other people. I don't think fear of consequences stops many people. In fact, psychological studies show that it doesn't. For example, there was a massive psychological study done on the death penalty. Does the death penalty actually stop people from committing serious crimes? Because that's the proponents of the death penalty believe that it does. The answer is no. Not at all. Like, it has no influence. Does it make a murderer not want to commit murder? It just makes them more careful to be caught. But they're still going to commit the fucking murder. Irregardless. So no. Consequences is not what keeps people in line. I think more often than not, consequences may be leading to a rise in frustration that makes people act out. Because I think inherently, most people realize that the system is unfair. The vast majority of people just don't know why the system is unfair. They haven't been able to figure out yet that the system is unfair because it's literally rigged against you and me. Because governments sit at the top of the fucking food chain and make things for... makes rules that benefit only their friends. Used to help them, what's the problem? Irregardless may not be a word on me, but you did understand what I said. I don't agree with that, Digit. I think if you ask the vast... Like, the only people that can't live without war are the people in government in the US. We have a bunch of Americans here. How do you guys like the wars? How do you guys like the wars? Like, I am yet to find a single American that actually fucking loves the war. Who actually thinks, yeah, war is good. Makes you wonder why the government keeps going to war. When the people of the country are like, how about we don't? We don't want to. We don't feel like it's good for us. Constitutional Republic is the best way, but I'm not in a position to debate it. Bentley, I would say... I would say a constitutional republic is... the best we have now. I still prefer anarchy, but considering that a constitutional republic is the closest you get to an anarchist system without actually having an anarchist system, I'd be okay with it. Because if you read the Constitution, if you actually read the Constitution, you read the founding documents of the Constitution. In other words, I think they call them the Republic Papers. It's the papers that was written when they were sort of arguing and debating about what should be in the Constitution and what shouldn't be. But if you actually read those, you recognize that from the beginning, their entire point was to decentralize power as much as humanly possible, to ensure that the people who make the rules live as close to you as humanly possible. And then you had, like Dengai said, the military-industrial complex. I forget who was the first president that actually warned against the military-industrial complex. But there was a president who warned that the Federalist Papers. Thank you. Yes, Papa Shango. If you read the Federalist Papers, it's fucking amazing. But there was a president who actually warned against the military-industrial complex and said it's going to be a nightmare. He basically told the American people they're not being ruled. May have been Eisenhower. May have been, I think. Yes. But he basically said, you're not being ruled by the presidents that you think you're being ruled by. Your presidents and your government officials do nothing. The military-industrial complex makes all the decisions. Yeah, it may have been Eisenhower. It's been a while ago that I went down this rabbit hole. I just believe... See, so here's my thing. Under the perfect circumstance, I would absolutely be a libertarian, and I used to be one. I used to be libertarian. Anarchy has been... it's a very new adaptation for me. I think for the last year, maybe a little bit more, that I've turned from libertarian to anarchist. But the reason I turned against libertarianism is explain to me how you keep the government's power in check. So I get it. One small government that only does the bare essentials and nothing more, they mustn't have too much power. How do you keep that in check? How do you stop that? Consider the fact that Thomas Jefferson, was it Thomas Jefferson or was it Washington? Fuck. I want to say it was Thomas Jefferson. It may have been George Washington. One of the two said that America will have a civil war every 200 years. Lakias, thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate the follow. Welcome to the channel. There will be a civil war every 2 years to redefine and re-cement effectively the Constitution of America. He warned, he said, these documents mean nothing. They only mean something if the government sticks to them. And in his estimation, it would take about 200 years for the government to completely perverse and alienate the papers of the Constitution, to which fact the citizenry would rise up against the government, fight a civil war to recodify the documents of the Constitution. Sounds more like GW, given his experience with the British War. We'll have to confirm via interweb. Yeah, you could probably look it up on the internet, but one of the two. I want to say I'm leaning towards George Washington being the one who said it. But it was literally, I think, on the day that they signed it, he said, every 200 years, there will be a civil war in the US to recodify the documents of the Constitution. Up in our assholes? True. He was wrong. Americans can't rise against the government at this point in time. Jimbo, I think they can, actually. People seem to forget that tanks are great, but in guerrilla warfare, tanks are kind of useless. If you're fighting a war of the guerrilla nature, your big guns are fairly useless, right? Because at that point, what are you shooting at? You've no idea what you're shooting at. You're being attacked by visions, effectively, right? So no, they would have a hard time. Plus, I like to believe that in such a circumstance, the military itself would find it very difficult to turn on their own people. And also, I think we should never underestimate the. So most people think of civil war and they think pew pew. It doesn't have to be pew pew. War doesn't have to be pew pew. It could be something as simple as the American public refuses to pay tax. The government is on its knees within minutes. Within minutes. It would take a day at most. If everyone stopped paying taxes, it's done. The government loses all of their power, and soldiers not being paid might not feel as willing to go to war if they know that they're not being paid. So I would be like, there's many ways to fight this war. There's many ways to go about it, right? I'm not, just want to be clear, I'm not advocating for war. I don't think war is good. I don't think anyone wins in a war. I don't want a bloody revolution. I think that's the stupidest thing ever. It's one of the reasons I would never be okay with a bloody revolution, and I would never be one to lead that charge. Because in those circumstances, you do absolutely end up with just miserable circumstances for fucking everyone, right? I believe that the Civil War that I would like to think George Washington spoke about would be one of the mind, one of intellect, one of basically fundamentally recodifying it without shooting a single fucking bullet. More than a few would though, but there would certainly be many who wouldn't. Yeah, but I think the ones who wouldn't would probably be outrank or at least outnumber the ones who would. Bentley, first and foremost, thank you for your service. I know you didn't fight for South Africa, but still, anyone that is willing to pick up arms to keep other people safe, I think deserves it. Especially considering that most veterans went to war for things that the politicians should probably have gone to war instead. Evans, thank you very much. I'd really appreciate it. Just know where I live, please. I'm fine with my government. Munot, where do you live? It go either way. North Korea doesn't seem to have much problems with uprisings. Yeah, but they've completely, if you look at what happened in North Korea, they completely broke their people, dude. The North Korean people are completely and utterly broken down. So, yeah. I mean, it's a very special country that people can do. It says what the government cannot do. It does not need recodified. Omi, the reason they say to recodify the documents is to basically get the government back in line with the government, with the documents. Because, yes, the Constitution is supposed to keep the government in check. The problem is that so many times the government changes the Constitution so that it effectively doesn't keep them in check. Video, the reason most European countries don't have a problem with their governments is, for the most part, the vast majority of European countries are all of a single culture. So it takes much longer. But there is signals on the horizon that may change. Like, things may get worse as things go on. Be in check, especially with what they're trying now. Agreed. But so people who are if you have every single person that is exactly the same culture, right? There's going to be very little friction. And in those cases, you can so easily fucking push people. You can very easily give the government a bunch of things to do because everyone sort of agrees on most things. The problem usually comes in when you have multicultural communities, which are amazing for a bunch of things, but it creates friction. It does. And you have to navigate that friction, and you have to figure out how to build the best possible system within this friction group. And that's usually where massive problems arise very quickly, especially when you have people who don't do it correctly, who don't really keep in mind that those things can become a problem. So there are signs that Europe is going the wrong way as well, but we'll have to wait and see. I can't really make a guess on that right now. I hope it doesn't. Europe is an amazing place. It's a beautiful place. I don't even want the US to really go through anything bad. Sexual, how you doing, bro? But I don't know if it's something that we can avoid. You know? I don't think it can be avoided. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I can see them getting ready. I'm gonna go. I still need to buy food and shit, and it's a public holiday year, so everything's closing early. I really thank each and one of you for coming out. This was actually a longer stream than what I thought it would be. I genuinely thought that they were going to stop much earlier because they already had the barbecue shit out and fucking ready, but I see them now sort of gathering around. So I'm assuming the music is starting soon, and contrary, I for some reason, I don't think that's going to go over well. So yeah, I'm probably going to go to the beach anyways now and just sort of hang out there with the doggos for a bit. I wanted to stream tomorrow on the second channel, but my brother is coming tomorrow, so I'll see if I can maybe get a little bit of the morning stream in, so quite an early stream on the second channel, play some Death Stranding or whatever. If not, I'll see all of you back on Sunday over on YouTube for the Shill Show, and if I don't see you on Sunday for the Shill Show, I will definitely be back next week for more streaming. We'll be jumping into Heavensward full on next week. I really want to fucking make a push to get at least done with Heavensward before New Year's. Like, hopefully we can try and get done with Heavensward main storyline before New Year's and then get into the patch content for that. Really appreciate each and one of you for coming out. Please take care of yourselves. Have an amazing weekend. And as always, I'm going to see all of you in the next one. Peace out, fam.